We gotta keep that same energy. We gotta keep that same energy, man. And it feels good to be back. It feels good to be back. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of things people are talking about. And, I think the world just needed the landlord to bring that energy back. I'm sorry, it's been a little minute. But I was out and about, but we're finally back. We're ready to go and let's cook. And look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to start off with something really quick. For anybody that got a misunderstanding, I still think, this is just my opinion, I still think Canelo Alvarez beats Terrence Crawford. I still think he beats Terrence Crawford. I still think Canelo Alvarez beats Bud Crawford. I still got Canelo winning that fight. Make no mistake, I still think Canelo Alvarez wins that fight. The only problem that I have is that Canelo has declined in my eyes, so I don't know if Canelo's going to be able to stop him, if Bud is going to move around the ring a lot, if it's going to make him look bad. We will find out on fight night. We will find out. We will find out. I got a guest in the building. Jesse, what's up, man?
Well, listen, Nuke, I've been watching you and hearing you and everything else, but here's the truth and reality. I'll tell you what, that fight that we just seen with School, listen, that doesn't define Canelo. We all know Canelo has this performance. He has it built in. He's still the bull. We can never forget what he has, all the gifts, and you know what? Crawford has this too, but I believe in my eyes, he is still untested. He didn't remain at 154 for too long. Canelo has been tested by bigger, stronger fellas at 168. We can never forgive that. I'll tell you what, this September, we're going to see a new Canelo because from my contacts up in Mexico and some of my friends up in Texas, I've heard that Canelo, Eddie Reynoso, is having a special workout for Canelo in the event that should Crawford start moving around, he is going to be well prepared.
This is why Eddie Reynoso is the best in the business, to me.
He is. He is.
Really
Absolutely is. And you know what? He may not train too many guys, but actually he's got several handful of guys. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Canelo is not an easy walkover. We didn't see his best. But listen, the kid still has it. Though a lot of people say he's getting old. Listen, we all get old. No one can run from Father Time. But this I'll tell you, and I've got a lot of experience with my dad because we used to have a gym up in East Chicago. And we used to train a lot of guys. And he used to train with Angel Manfredi. I don't know if you remember him or not. But I'll tell you what, I've been watching Canelo for at least better than a decade. I've been watching him. I told my wife and my friends, listen, we've been keeping a close eye with this guy. Because this guy's been tested. Yeah, I've seen him through, and as the years gone by, I kept on saying, wow, this kid is special. I knew he was special. Even when he fought Floyd Mayweather, yeah, Mayweather beat him, but it's hard to beat someone who's on his feet all the time and running around. But listen, I know for a fact Canelo is going to be prepared for a running Crawford. So I hear what you're saying that Canelo, oh, listen, we can't put all the chips because you've seen one fight. Be prepared. Canelo's not going to let no one down. Yes, he's gotten older. He's got a lot of mileage on his body.
He does.
And his foot. But I promise you, Nuke, this is going to happen. Canelo's going to be ready in case of the event that Crawford starts running around. You're going to see a new and like a renewed sense of spirit in Canelo to show his fans and to show the Crawford doubters that, listen, I'm the king. I'm the face of 168.
And I mean, we also have Terrence Crawford that has to answer a lot of questions. He's been out for a year. He's only fought a couple of times in the last 3 years. He looks slower and lethargic at 54. His pop didn't have the same. Is he going to be able to move up in weight, being off a year, not looking great at 54? Is he going to be able to carry a lot of speed and strength up there? I don't think his power affects Canelo at all. I just don't see that changing under any circumstances.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now, look it. I can only speak on what I've seen, what I've heard, working with my dad, working with a bunch of boxers. I've seen, and not that I'm a great trainer, I'm not, but I'll tell you what. Crawford does have this excellent sustainability. He's a smart fighter. He's smart. He stays within the lines. He's got very good balance, a pretty good hand speed, Okay, and he's got this conventional and southpaw orthodox or southpaw stance that makes him very makes him an offensive powerhouse that, listen, we have to respect. Canelo respects it. More importantly, Eddie Reynoso knows it. I don't think it's going to be a problem with Canelo because we all know that what Canelo does is he's going to try you out for the first round or two. After the third or fourth round, he's already figured you out because he doesn't look at just your feet or your legs or your hips. He looks at the whole package. He knows he measures your speed. He measures your power. Canelo is a bull. This guy knows how to tactfully control not only you, but your output and your power. This is what Canelo does super great at. Crawford cannot do this. Yes, Crawford's dominated his field, and rightfully so. He deserves to have all the accreditations to his name. But with Canelo, listen, I'm telling you, man, this kid, he is going to surprise us this September. Besides, that's the true Mexican Independence Day, not Cinco de Mayo. So look for Canelo to bring a renewed spirit or sense of spirit into his fight to show everyone, listen, Canelo is back on track, and he's not going to let Crawford run around.
That's a great analysis. One more thing I'd really like to point out too is I did a video earlier this week. I seen a post online where people were talking about Canelo and Crawford and their resumes and how Terrence Crawford is undefeated. Canelo had 2 losses, 2 draws. And I'm like, well, if Crawford fought the same level of competition Canelo had, he'd probably have 10 losses and been stopped 5 or 6 times. If Canelo fought the same level of competition as Bud, he'd be undefeated with a 100% knockout rate. Like, you can't really compare the 2 resumes. Am I right, Jesse? Or what do you think about that?
Listen, I think you're 1,000% right. You know, we can play all day. We can hop between that fine line. We can't. When it comes to boxing, listen, it's you do or you don't. And to me, resume is everything. Listen, I can fight 100 fights, but if there are a bunch of chumps working for UPS or anywhere else, you know, not doing this full time, you know, that really limits your ability to actually fight well. Canelo's fought a lot of big monsters in the ring. Not to take away anything from Crawford, but listen, I can count on one hand how many really good, talented fighters he fought. He didn't have to struggle too much. Crawford's a smart guy because he chooses carefully behind closed doors. He chooses carefully who to fight. But Crawford's no dummy. He knows tactics. Why else would you think Crawford will be there when Canelo's fighting? Crawford's taking notes. Okay, he's been training all this time while Canelo is not. Canelo's taking it easy from his fight. It's important people realize that Crawford is still working on preparing. He's gotten heavier. He looked a little bit taller than Canelo and about the same girth-wise. But things that we can't measure is heart. Canelo has his fight. They both have heart. But listen, Canelo's the king of 168. Weight means everything. It does, because it means more than just punching power, but it means stamina, your ability to move your feet. It's going through 12 rounds. Can Crawford do it? That's untested. Just like 154 is untested, so is 168. He's never been there. Running around in the ring with, I forget his name.
Spence?
That retired guy who fought Sergey Kovalev. What's his name?
Boston. No, he can fight Kovalev. Now, whose opponent is this?
He was a pretito, some black guy. Really, he retired extra early. He's undefeated, but and he fought Kovalev 3 times, I believe. And listen,
he didn't.
Very questionable on how well this guy. It's a shame. I'm 60 years old. I can barely remember.
It's okay.
I'll tell you what, though, this guy is filling Crawford's head, and we need to call a spade a spade. Crawford's very good, but listen, you didn't do enough for me at 154. You did not. Madrimov, dude, he barely has 10 wins in his belt. Overall, maybe not, but listen, Madrimov did good. The fight could have gone either way. I'm not going to pick one or two. I'm okay with Crawford winning, but I'm also okay with Madrimov winning. That fight, listen, Crawford was destabilized. He was confused. Didn't have the power. This is a different book. I'm telling you. 168, though he's gotten whacked a few times in the ring, is to be really careful because Canelo can punch. Two, he may not have the speed like Crawford, but he still has the speed. And more importantly, Canelo figures you out. That is it. Crawford does the same, but not at the rate as Canelo.
What do you say to the people that said Bud Crawford's defensive abilities are similar to Floyd Mayweather? We know they don't have the same style, but I've seen Crawford get touched up by Gamboa. I've seen him get touched up by Kavalauskas, Madrimov. I've even seen Errol Spence hit this guy. And not to say those shots affected him against Spence or whatever, but we've seen almost everybody he's been in a ring with be able to hit Crawford no matter what style he came in, even though he's a very masterful boxer. I don't see how people say that Canelo's not going to be able to touch him for 12 rounds cleanly, ever. I don't see how you can come to that.
Listen, no matter who, a lot of the guys, I'll tell you what, I go back to the days of Muhammad Ali, Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, the great Mike Tyson. Listen, man, everyone gets hit. Everyone's different. When you get into the ring, you're fighting a certain style. Okay. Canelo's constantly adjusting with all the different fighters. One thing that you can put in the bank is that Canelo, all these fighters, listen, School, that dude looked like almost a heavyweight. He looked really big. I'm like, wow, this dude looks really big. But it all has a big effect to who you're fighting and your tangible game plan. You can't forget about your game plan. Eddie Reynoso once told me in Spanish, that, listen, without a game plan, you're going in there empty-handed. You're going to show up with a knife at a gunfight. You got to be smart. You have to know how you're going to tactically break this down. So this is something Canelo's got to figure out. Each man's going to be different. He's going to be prepared. But when it comes to Crawford, he has his tech ways of doing things. I'm sure Bomax got him prepared in the head. But play no games. Canelo's coming out this September. We're all going to see a renewed and different Canelo. He's going to be prepared. Mark my words. You're going to be, and I hope I catch you afterwards. I'm going to tell you I told you so. Canelo's going to be prepared for a moving Crawford.
Now, one question here, Jesse. How do you see the fight going? Do you feel like it's going to go the distance in a Canelo dominating fashion, get a great decision, or do you think that Canelo stops Bud at some point in this fight? Do you think he ends it early?
Well, certainly there's a possibility. I mean, in boxing, anything can happen. Okay, so we have to be smart. One thing Canelo's not one to bash or to be too brave unless you really piss him off. But I'll tell you what, I do see this fight going in pretty at about, Canelo's always been a slow starter because, like I said, he's looking to figure out your foot speed, your hips, your shoulders, and what you're going to do. And he's looking for the switch up. And though I can't tell you here part of Canelo's tactic, or at least Eddie Reynoso, but listen, when there is a change up, there's the opportunity. Okay, because during change up, you're not only moving, but you're changing position. During that change in position, things can happen, and I can promise you Canelo is going to take advantage of certain situations on here. So this we need to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And we have a few other people on the panel. Guys, do you have any questions for Coach Jesse? Because he's really breaking it down. He's giving us a great analysis. Fight Sports, Ashley, Round One Max. Does anybody have a question for Coach Jesse?
Yeah, man. I feel like he's right. How you doing, Coach? This is your boy Round One right here. But he's hitting it on the nail in the coffin. Like I've been saying, Nuke. I mean, let's say he did fight Skull and then fought Berlanga after. You saw what he did to Berlanga. He would have done the same shit. So we wouldn't be talking about this shit about Canelo. He's declining this and that, bro. Because if Bud is gonna be there, like they say, Bomac said he's gonna make him be on the bike. But he's never on the bike, bro. That's not his thing. And when he gets cracked, he likes to hit back. So Canelo's gonna have easier time with a guy like Bud if Bud's gonna be trading with him. And that's why I would see it, man. Canelo's gonna drop him probably in the 5th, 6th round, and then that's when he gets dropped or feels that power. That's when you're gonna see Bud start being in the back foot, start backing up a lot. Probably be in that bicycle for a little.
Yeah, I agree. That also can that probably will happen in many cases because, like I said, we're not dealing with just a fighter. We're talking about Terrence Crawford, Bud Crawford. This guy knows how to manipulate the ring just like Canelo. Canelo, that's one common stock we can definitely say and we can all agree with about Canelo is that he does have trouble with a moving target. He can do a better job of trapping, but because it's school, I think Canelo got a little bit lazy in the foot where, listen, Canelo can get Terrence Crawford in trouble really fast because we don't know if Crawford really does have that chin. He's tasted the knee in the ground. We've all witnessed it, okay, with a good punch. Well, can you imagine the same punch, but with a lot more power behind it? So that possibility is definitely there.
Absolutely. And the one thing that we can say is experience is everything in boxing. Canelo Alvarez has been in there with the best of the best elite fighters, Floyd Mayweather, Dimitri Bivol, Ennis Landy Lotta, Danny Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev, renowned elite world champions, multiple different weight classes. But Crawford has never had that type of experience. So I do say experience is going to be very, very valuable in this fight for Canelo Alvarez compared to Terrence Crawford. Because Terrence Crawford is going to see something he's never seen before in this fight at some point.
And the thing is about too, Coach. I was gonna say this too. You know, the thing about Bud, he has a lot of tools in his shed. He got hoes, he got rakes, he got a lawnmower. But all those shit is not gonna break cement. Canelo got a granite chin, so there's certain things he could use, but it's gonna be hard because this is a guy who Canelo, he could eat a shot. I mean, we've seen him eat shots from Triple G, Kovalev. He's eaten tons of hard hitting shots from people, and Bud is really not that type of hard hitter, but mostly kind of tends to take everybody out later in the rounds. He's not like a knockout artist known for that, So to me, I would think Bud, if he's gonna start like always on the southpaw stance, and he'll have to just use his jab before engaging. Like try to use double the jab, feint a little more before engaging with Canelo because he gets hit. I could see him go down and it's going to be a whole different fight. The plan B Bomax is going to tell him to do is going to happen. So, and then Canelo's the A side. So you have to make sure the judge see you're beating the A side guy,
True. Very well said. I like that. Because you know what? It doesn't matter what we think. What matters most importantly are statistics, punch stats, and more importantly, the judges. Okay? Just because a boxer doesn't punch doesn't mean he's losing a round. But he's got to show defensive skills. Okay? If you can bob, weave, move, show that, yeah, the other fighter is wasting his time. He's too slow. Listen, a lot of judges take points on that. I know I do. Okay, if you're just skimming past everything and you ain't getting hit and you only deliver a punch or two, listen, I'm going to take that fighter,
And Ashley Knuckles, what do you say about this analysis that you're hearing right now? What's your comment? Do you have any pushback? You in agreement? What are you thinking?
I'm just hearing a bunch of wishful thinking. That's pretty much a bunch of wishful thinking. That's what it is.
Why do you feel it's wishful thinking, Ashley? Can you be specific?
Because it's all opinion.
You not seeing these?
It's all opinions. We got to see when the fight get hit. I'm not here to cap for Crawford. All I know is that it's gonna look real bad if Canelo Alvarez lose this fight. That's all I know. And anybody who disagree with that is a idiot.
But like I said, Ashley, like last time I told you, he better be boxing like Bivol. He better be pushing Canelo back. He shouldn't be going back.
Listen, man, Bud is a hell of a fighter. Bud knows what's in stake. Bud is not coming in here to lay down like Charlo. He's not coming to do that. Bud is coming. Bud know this is his last fight, so he's
wait a minute.
He's not trying to go out on his back. Trust.
I'm a little confused. If Bud's a hell of a fighter, he's not coming in here to lay down. He's a great fighter. Why would it look bad on Canelo if the fight gets close, competitive, or Canelo loses? Why would that look bad on Canelo?
It's gonna look bad because he's coming because like y'all said, y'all didn't see enough of him at 154. So I don't consider him a 154 since that was only one fight. He's actually a 147. and he's 2.5, close to 3 years older than fucking Canelo Alvarez. So if he come all the way up to 168 and he beats him, and especially if he beat him convincingly, it's gonna look real bad because you ain't gonna be able to use the old factor. And how they gonna use the old factor is, well, Canelo got 60 fights in. Father Time caught up with him. So we all know it's gonna look bad if he lose. So yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for September. I done told y'all that already.
Now, what
I'm gonna
happens
stay
if he
quiet to
wins?
September.
And now if Canelo wins, does he get full credit? Ashley, do you say, man, that's a
He
great
should.
performance
He's
by Canelo?
supposed to. This is the fight game. There's no taking. It's no taking no credit for him. Because that's the case, he shouldn't be getting paid the amount of money that Turkey Al-Sheikh is supposed to be dishing out, 300 million.
A lot of people can give credit for Canelo.
I heard a rumor today that Turkey Ali Sheik and them has an alternate fighter just in case something happens with Bud with Bud in before this fight comes. Lester Martinez. Remember that name. Lester Martinez. That's the name that they putting out that's going to be the backup fighter if something happened to Bud Bud Crawford.
That's contractual. In boxing that always happens. There's always through contracts. In the event should something happen, listen, they speak of this because there's money involved. So yeah, there's always going to be backup fighters. In some cases there's not. But yeah, but I just don't see that happening. I do agree with you somewhat on that. Crawford's going to come in 100%. He better. Why? Listen, I've never seen any boxer train for at least a year now for Canelo for one fighter. But this is what Crawford does. Listen, so that for at least a year for Canelo. So just so everyone knows, Crawford's walking weight. Does anyone know what normally Crawford walks around at?
He should at least walk around, at least if not about at least 170, at least.
Yeah, you're pretty close. So he's normally about 160, between 160, 165 is where he likes to walk around. Sometimes a little bit heavier, but training is one thing. When he used to be 147, he used to really thin out. Crawford knew what to do. He knew his diet. He didn't fight as much as Canelo and all the rest, but he does what he does, and we recognize that because he is a champion. You know what I mean? He's a champion. Well, we're going to find out this September. Okay, we're going to find out this September who the real champ is. Who is the real pound for pound? Who's the best? Though we still have a few others in front of Canelo, Crawford, or whatever, whichever which way you want to put it. You'll be able to see the bones of the soul.
Hanging up the gloves after this fight, no?
Who, Canelo?
For Crawford, I thought he's hanging up the gloves.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of speculation on that. The answer is no. If he beats Canelo, then the answer is going to be no, because now he's got the money, he's got the prestige, and I think he might have another fight or two in him, though I can't say for certain. But much will be dependent the day of the fight, and if there's going to be a Canelo Crawford 2, we don't know. The point is, as long as Crawford comes up to fight, I don't believe that he's going to run around the ring like School did. That was a disaster for School, or for that fight. But I think Crawford's going to go up against Canelo, which will be a mistake. I don't think Crawford should be in front of Canelo. But I think Crawford's going to move around a little bit here and there to try to get different angles on Canelo.
The one thing
for Canelo.
The one thing I disagree with is saying that Terrence Crawford's been training for Canelo this whole time. I know Crawford and his team have been saying that, but you can't truly train for a guy if you take a year off, you don't acclimate to a weight that's multiple weight classes up. It's not like he's really preparing himself the right way. He's more focused on, I just need to get the fight. For whatever reason, that could be a payday, that could be other things, but a guy that truly is invested on winning, Jesse, I mean, am I right? Don't you want to acclimate to that weight class first?
True.
Well, listen, we're all smart enough to understand. We're just not saying, we're not talking about the elephant in the room here, right? Crawford, I would love for Crawford to stay at 154, to prove himself at 154, especially against either Boots or one of my favorites. I forget his name. At 154, this guy's a beast.
But I'd like to see Crawford there. But it just amazes me how Crawford just went in. He knew that 154 belt went to Madrimov, and shortly after, Crawford strangely went after it and got the 154 belt because he knew it was easier to get the belt through Madrimov than it was from anyone else from 154 because they had seasoned fighters at 154. Now he wants to try and hit at 168. That makes no real sense. I think most of us who know boxing know that there's these weight classes are there for a reason. Legally, there's a reason behind it because listen, even the referees, they got to make sure that no one's going to kill each other despite all those heavy blows. These things can happen. There can do a lot of massive damage to either one fighter at one shot or one time. So we need to be smart. I think Crawford's just, I want to say that he's just doing it because he wants the money so he can retire. That's been talked about before. But what other reason is there just to get this one? He did it once before. Now he's climbing another weight or two to get 168. To go after Canelo, listen, I just don't see him reaching the top of that mountain. Yeah, he's going to get paid, but I just don't see him beating Canelo. I just don't, no matter who he's training with. Sparring is sparring.
Isn't that what Canelo did in his career when he started at 147? He jumped up weights.
Well, yeah, but you do it methodically. What you don't do is do one fight and call it a shot. Let's move on. Crawford.
You do if it's a retirement fight.
Old. What's that?
I said you do if it's a retirement fight.
Well, listen, I don't want to say Crawford. Listen, he's doing it for his own reasons. Could it be for money? Yeah. Listen, if I were in his shoes, why not? But
I think he's selling his old.
Yeah, he said the deal Turkey got for him is $200 million for Canelo and $100 million for him. Crawford never made that kind of money. He get $100 million at the age he is. He's about to be 38 years old in September. That man is riding off into the sunset with that $100 million and calling it a career.
Oh, certainly. But it's hard to not say. And yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that. But a boxer's a boxer, man. You can't. You can be sitting on a lot of money, but all you think about is boxing. All you talk about is boxing. And it's hard for someone as great as Crawford just to say, okay, I quit because all he does is talk about boxing. And the biggest name out there right now is Canelo. Everyone sleeps rent free in their minds. Canelo this, Canelo that. Is because everyone knows that Canelo's the man to beat. Even Crawford has that stigma of Canelo in his head. That's why he's chasing. He wasn't chasing Canelo too far. Now, he was, as of lately, before this contract got signed and everything else, but Crawford was pushing for Canelo. Everyone's got Canelo in their mind. And why not? Crawford's going after Canelo now. And, well, he got it, and he's going to get paid. And what he does after the fact, well, we're going to see. After this September, we're going to see what's going to happen. I think the fight's going to go a full 12. I think Canelo's going to get Crawford in trouble a lot. I just see Crawford holding a lot.
The question is, if Canelo loses this fight, does he retire?
Canelo?
Yeah, Canelo.
No. Despite what everyone says about his I'm gonna call it lackadaisical performance. But Canelo, when you keep dealing with the same issue over and over, round after round after round after round, you get to there's a part in what you do, you're like, oh, not this again. You know what? I had enough. And you can see it in Canelo's face. He's like, oh, okay, listen, I had enough of your bullshit. This is not gonna work. Canelo's like all Mexican fighters, and all Mexican fighters, they're like little bulls, man. They just come forward. They just want to fight. They're going to get hit. Canelo knows he's going to get hit, but he knows in his head, this guy can't hurt me. I've gotten the biggest hits from the biggest boxers in boxing right now. So, Canelo's going to unravel Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's going to unravel on Canelo. They're both going to see what they both have. And I believe it in my heart and believe it in my head that Crawford's finally going to see what Charlo and all the rest of the guys were up against. Because Canelo is just a master behind gloves, man.
And that's a great analysis. I want to go to Fight Sports. I think he had a question for you, and Big E as well. And after that, we'll start digging into this Benavidez topic a little bit. Fight Sports, did you have a question for Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse, I wanted to ask you, the fight that I've often compared this to is Hagler-Duran. Not that I see Canelo or Crawford as great as them, but that's the kind of task Crawford has to fight a much bigger guy who's also a very good inside fighter. Do you think Crawford can somewhat replicate what Duran did by avoiding Hagler? Well, Duran avoided Hagler's big knockout punches and was able to roll with them, and to where he never really got hurt in the fight. Do you think Crawford can do that with Canelo? Because, again, huge size difference in terms of natural size. Canelo's been fighting at this weight for a long time. Crawford hasn't. Crawford squares up at times, does get hit. Canelo is a very serious body puncher, and he's an accurate puncher. Can you see him doing somewhat replicating what Duran did against Hagler?
Good. I mean, look at Crawford. What makes things tough is that when you have a boxer who can switch up, I've seen that back in the 80s. But going back to that, the heyday of boxing. Listen, man, we in the 50s and 60s and 70s, man, we were glued on the tube watching, these great fighters go at it. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he would fight Muhammad Ali. Listen, everyone technically every boxer's known for doing what they do. Okay. Now, whether or not Terence Crawford can show Canelo something different from the switch up, whether or not he can hurt Canelo and go to the body, we have to see that. I'm not sold on that at all. Canelo's got a very powerful midsection. Canelo is tough he's gotten easier to hit because Canelo's exposing himself. Because when you take a chance and you're fighting someone else, either southpaw conventional, you get to see, all right, he's not switching up as much, or you see that this guy doesn't throw much jabs. That makes him more vulnerable in the eyes of Canelo. Same thing with Crawford. Technically, what does Crawford do well versus technically what does Canelo do well? We don't know what they're going to bring at the table this September. Can Crawford hurt Canelo in the body? No, he can't. Now, that we all know, the part of boxing, listen, there's a standard recipe. It's like making a cake. You're telling your wife, honey, the cake came out like crap. Didn't you follow the recipe? There's a recipe to success. And someone about that, I used to love this guy. I used to be a trainer for Mike Tyson. What's his name? He does a lot of interviews. What's that guy's name? He used to train Mike Tyson.
A lot of guys used to train Mike Tyson.
Are you talking about in the beginning of his career?
Well, about
Teddy Atlas? You talking about Teddy Atlas?
Get a little closer to your mic, Jesse. A little closer to your mic.
Teddy Atlas. Now listen, I met not Teddy Atlas. I've seen Teddy Atlas. I didn't meet him, but more importantly, my father knew D'Amato. Okay, we went there up in Catskill, New York. Okay, Customato. Listen, that besides being a big tough dude, he talked very aggressive with that cigar in his mouth. But you know what? Teddy Atlas, I can tell you, was just a bucket boy, a water boy. He didn't know much of anything. I've seen it. Okay, but listen, when you're around the gym a lot, you pick up on things, you learn things, and eventually you become good at telling boxers, hey, don't do this, don't do that, do this instead. So Teddy Atlas was one to, boxing's like a good recipe. You need to follow the recipe. And he's right in that effect where, listen, the first couple of rounds, you got to go to the body. Why do we go to the body? Because you're taking the steam out. Anyone who boxes, I don't know if anyone boxes here or not. If you box.
Kevin Rooney used to coach him after Cuss.
Yeah. Rooney. Yes. But I mean, we used to go up there, not a lot, but every so often. My dad and him were good friends. But, you have these, I lost my train of thought. I apologies. I'm too old to remember stuff, but I can tell you that, anyone who fights in the ring, who spars, and who actually fights, we all know there's different game plans because there's good assets that we have, then there's negative assets. When I look at every fight, who's fighting who, I'll look and make a list. Okay, well, the pros and then the cons. Okay, the reality of the fact is, yeah, listen, these are both two older fighters, but Canelo has a lot more pros going into this fight than he does cons. Crawford is untested. The chin is there for Canelo to take. You know, Crawford's got the tools, he can, but I just don't see it. Maybe at 154, I think even Crawford could be in trouble with Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz at 154, man.
I always want to see Boots move up to 154.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
Hey,
Boots Ennis.
I was going to tell you, Canelo, he hasn't been looking that good after that hand surgery. I mean, look, he fought Bivol and Triple G. Those are big. Those are guys with granite chins and shit like that. So, of course, I wasn't expecting a knockout or nothing, you know. But after that, he fought someone like John Ryder, who I would have thought he would have knocked him out. But since he had that hand surgery, he still got the pop. But that's why I can't see him stop Crawford unless Crawford's just there to get hit. But it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, all boxers have different tactics. You know, they lay things down the way that one. Remember, Crawford and Canelo, they both go in with a game plan, right? But they get their game plan scissored up because when they get back and sit in that corner after a round or two or three, you know, it's their trainer in their ear. You know, hey, listen, you need to back off on your jabs, or hey, you need to, you know, to keep your left foot on the outside, or you need to do this. And that is part of the game. That's part of game planning. You know, what's still in my head, you know, and I don't want to take anything away from Crawford because I don't want no one to think that I love Crawford. Crawford's doing what he has to do. And listen, he's a champion. He didn't get there by accident, but, you know, it didn't matter. Don't matter at this point. The point is, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, he's up against this is a big mountain he's got to climb. Yeah, you know, Canelo's slowing down. No, Crawford's done his homework. He's no dummy. He's done his homework. However, boxers train based off the fighter they're going to fight. So you see film. You know, you talk about, hey, look at his left jab. He's throwing, you know, the 1-2, but this guy, like Bivol, man, Bivol never sticks to a one. He likes the 1-2, but he sets you up for the 3-4-5-6. He sets you up with the 3-4-5-6. That's beautiful. You know, that's a tactic Canelo never seen. These are the dangers of what different boxers are bringing today.
I disagree with that.
Okay, why is that?
Because he's fought plenty of great boxers who've done the same thing. They just haven't had the size for it to actually matter.
Well, look at that's the first time Canelo really seen that sort of offensive weaponry from another boxer. Listen, Bivol came a little bit heavy. Okay, Bivol did look bigger than Canelo. Okay, but what Bivol did, okay, he kind of took that away from Beterbiev. And when Beterbiev beat him, you know, Bivol knew, okay, I'm going back to school. And, you know, he was more to a stickler of the 3-4-5 and whatever. Okay, that's what he does. Punches and bunches is what a lot of trainers like to do if your fighter can support that. Okay, now, I don't know if Crawford's going to do this or not. Crawford's pretty studious, you know. He constantly switches, but he switches in the event that he needs to. But that could be, a lot of people say, well, it's a good offensive weapon to have. Yeah, that could have an issue with a prominent fighter like Canelo Alvarez. So Crawford needs to be very careful. I think Crawford's going to come out slow like he did it with Madrimov. I think Canelo's going to start off slow. This fight isn't going to start till about the third or fourth round. And then Canelo is going to give him a whacking round 2 or 3. And it's going to let Crawford know, hey, welcome to 168.
That's what I'm saying too. Once Crawford feels that power, I feel like he's gonna be doing what Bowman does, start moving backwards, start, you know, throwing jabs, moving around a lot, keep moving, you know, and that's not gonna help him win the fight. I mean, look at the way I mean, the way Mayweather and Bivol fought Canelo and beat Canelo was just by pushing him back, out punching him, and just basically schooling Canelo because Canelo couldn't do nothing with Bivol. He was getting pushed back. He was trying to
Well, we
throw.
got
He
to
was
remember
throwing
he was
hands,
injured
bro.
too, so that
Yeah, yeah, that's
definitely
the
plays a
thing. That's the
factor
thing.
in
He
him
was
not being
injured
able to
too.
perform
Yeah, that's
optimal.
the thing too. But other than that, Canelo, he would still, wasn't even with a little injury. I could see Canelo like beat most of these boxers, but because it was someone like Bivol, who's, because I hate it when people just call them a
Pound
European
for
bum,
pound.
or yeah, they didn't even know who Bivol was, but I already knew how he fights. He's kind of like Canelo, has a counter style, but he started coming in, hitting Canelo, pushing him back because he knew
Yeah,
Canelo couldn't do nothing.
Those
right.
dudes are meat riders. I didn't even know who Bivol was until I seen him, and I was like, oh, he about to give
Yeah,
Canelo some work.
yeah. Listen, Bivol
They're
might have
meat
been.
riders.
Yeah, not many of us knew him. I've seen him before in a few fights. I've heard about him also, but I was very concerned. I came out and told Teddy Atlas. I told him, look, man, I don't feel comfortable with this fight. I told him outright, I don't feel comfortable with this fight. I even told a few of
Who's
my
this
friends
dude,
up in
Jesse? Who is this
Texas.
dude? Because I thought you was Oscar for a second.
No, don't do
I'm
it
like,
like
this shit.
that, man.
I said, I know this ain't. I said, I know IBFP ain't that big. This thing got Oscar on here.
No, I promise you, Jesse does not have any fishnets in his closet. That's not
No,
what's happening right now.
listen,
Well,
man,
by the
I've
way he
got
talking, I can tell he's a masculine man. He ain't no Dan De La Hoya.
no, listen, I've got a lot of good friends in boxing. I'm thankful for it. I've been blessed with it. So, but not that I really pick their brains because I don't need to pick their brains. I just use my own ability to kind of decipher what's probably going to happen. But with Teddy Atlas, I told him, listen, I don't like this fight with Canelo. I wish I can just tell Eder Reynoso or Canelo, hey man, yeah, you might want to rethink this Bivol fight. And right from the beginning, I knew right away. This fight's not going to work out.
Big E, are you
Take the
there?
COVID medication, man. God damn.
Big E, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Big E, would you like to join the conversation? Did you have any questions for Coach Jesse or anything before we get on to this Benavidez topic as well?
Well, I got to see y'all to hear me first.
It sounds like
I
you're in
got
a
a statement
Walmart
for Coach
parking lot,
Jesse.
Big E. I have no idea what you're saying.
The Walmart bathroom.
A Walmart bathroom.
Hey,
I got
Coach
that.
Jesse.
You
Coach
install
Jesse. The
three.
only time I ever heard Bivol is when they was talking about Andre Ward ran from him. So I was like, oh, this is the dude that Andre Ward ran from. Oh, well, let me go and see what he talking about because it's the same dude that he told Canelo to stay away from. Of course, he was projecting.
Everybody was calling it a cherry pick. I remember that fight when it was made.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you absolutely right, Ashley.
Whoever called that a cherry pick really doesn't know boxing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
Like I
thing,
said,
bro.
I'm a casual.
I remember a lot of Canelo haters, once Canelo beat Kovalev, a lot of Canelo haters were like, he ain't gonna take a fight with Benavidez or Bivol. And then some of these people, like boxing channels, like Boxing Shigo, would be like, man, I don't want to see this European bum.
He said
I was
boxing
nowhere.
Shigo. That's funny as fuck.
I don't never
I
remember.
was nowhere.
I
This
don't really
man
remember
said
nobody saying he won't fight
Canelo.
Bivol. I know better
Oh
be.
no.
There was a lot of people
Canelo
saying that
haters.
he
A
wouldn't fight
lot of
Bivol.
Canelo, yeah, bro. Those aren't the casual fans though. Those are
So
the
let me
fucking
put
fanboys.
let me pause this for 1 second and just let's clear up one thing. Andre Ward, I think that's who Jesse was referring to earlier in the show. By the way, retired,
Yeah, he was.
undefeated, younger black fighter. The only thing I'll say is Andre Ward is the one who started the narrative that Canelo, after he went on his undisputed run at 168, saying that he would never dare go up to 75 and fight Archie Beterbiev or Dimitri Bivol. And when he fought Dimitri Bivol, he gave him zero credit and basically shit on him after he lost the fight. And what's interesting is Canelo reached out before he fought Sergey Kovalev and tried to fight Archie Beterbiev first. So a lot of this talk about Canelo is just pure disrespect. Canelo, obviously, the one thing we know about him, the man is fearless. And so you can't really say that a guy wanted to fight, Beterbiev and Bivol is some kind of pussy. It just simply doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
Edgar, did you want to... one second. Edgar, did you want to add a comment to this topic at all? Because I didn't get anything from you as of yet, or any questions for Coach Jesse.
No. I mean, I like I said, salute to everybody. I was listening. I agree with a lot that he said. On other stuff, we can see common ground. But I mean, No, I mean, I think he had a good segment there for a few minutes. It's glad to see new faces on the panel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fight Sports, what were you saying, my brother? I apologize for interrupting.
No. It's just very quickly on Andre Ward, because Ward is one of those fighters who was criticized heavily in his career, fair or unfair. But I don't know what it is with these guys, truly, who, when they retire, they become the exact critics that they hated during their careers. I mean, it's the same thing with what up, Steel Mills. It's the same thing with Timothy Bradley when Usyk beat Tyson Fury the second time, and he said, "Oh, Usyk's no all-time great, man." It's like, are you retarded? Like, how can you fix your mouth, as they say in the States, and say such retarded things when you were criticized for everything you did in your careers? It's like, what's wrong with these people? I don't get it.
And sports talk. That's why I knock out Tim Bradley at least once a day in fight night, because he's a fucking meat rider.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, even Teddy Atlas is kind of sounding like.
He's a level 3 meat rider for sure.
Oh my goodness.
And the sad thing about it, these dudes are supposed to be professionons. These dudes are the ones that are supposed to know boxing, but yet they be the biggest meat riders.
But it's because it's a little bit of hate and it's a little bit of contract fucking stipulations. They all worked for ESPN, and that's why they're hate. And that's why they're hate, because on ESPN's side of the table, they had Crawford for a while, and they had other fighters that they wanted to push as the face of boxing instead of Canelo being the face of boxing. So that's why all that fucking hate and bullshit talk was coming.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like I said, I'm black, and if Canelo was black, bro, Canelo would be the number one. He'd be the face of boxing, in and out. He'd be on every ring magazine. Joe, I'm like, bro, y'all niggas is meat riding because Canelo is the king, and that's that. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna be honest with you. If Canelo beat Crawford, he number one pound for pound. I don't give a fuck about what they talking about, because how many current fighters have beat more than one pound for pound fighter? Top 10.
Hey, did you guys consider
good point. That's a good point.
Were you guys, before Canelo fought Jermell, did you guys put him in pound for pound?
He was already pound for pound.
He was already on there.
He was already on there.
Number 8 or number 9 in my pound.
You talking about Jermell Charlo?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, he was undisputed. He was undisputed during that fight. So yeah, that was a top 5 undisputed.
Bro, how many pound for pound fighters has Canelo fought, bro?
This is going to be.
Huck Street.
Go ahead.
I'd love to after Canelo Crawford. I'd love to talk to you about this pound for pound thing.
Yeah, we'll talk pound for pound. We'll talk Canelo Crawford. I kind of want to touch the Benavidez topic. Coach,
I want to hear what Steel Mills talking about.
Yeah. Coach Jesse Meek, Coach Steel Mills, one of the most knowledgeable people you'll meet in boxing. If you have not subscribed,
never that.
And my brother Untouchable Raider as well. He's obviously my brother Mills is humble. My brother Mills, I do have a question for you real quick. What is this we're hearing about Benavidez possibly fighting? I've heard 3 names. I've heard Anthony Yard, I've heard Callum Smith, and according to your video, I've also heard, I hope it's William Skull. And I'm sure Ashley Knuckles is going to be in hell somewhere if this happens. Can you break down that situation real quick for us, Mills? What you think is going to happen here?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, man. I came across it last week. You know, I'm still on Facebook. That's the only social media platform that I really fuck with. And someone posted it in one of the groups on Facebook or whatever. And just me being nosy and really wanted to get to the meat and potato of everything. I went on YouTube and I peeped it out, and it's a video in Spanish of Jose Senior bumping his guns. I'm in the process of learning Spanish, so I was able to keep up. But I went and I sent the video to a few other people. I'm like, man, tell me if I'm tripping or not. I know this dude is not trying to bring up William Skull to fight David Benavidez. And sure enough, he was. And then a few days after that, he did a video with, I forget the name of the platform, but it's one of the British platforms. He regurgitated it again. We had looked to bring, I'm interested in the William Skull fight, maybe meeting him at a catchweight or whatever the case may be. I don't know what this, like, y'all, listen, I'm of the mindset that this fool is finna try and bring up Jesse Hart and fight him on PBC or whatever the case may be. I don't see him doing nothing extravagant, man. I just don't, man. And just everything he's doing, It's all, predicated on how Canelo moves. He even did on the Usman and Henry show. If if Canelo beats Crawford, then he'll go back to 168 pounds and fight Crawford. I'm just like, man, I don't know, man.
Ashley,
I got
how would you
a lot to
feel?
say about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right to you, Park and Jesse. Real quick, Ashley, how would you feel if David Benavidez fought William Skull next? How do you feel even hearing that name being mentioned by David Benavidez's own team? Are you a little disappointed to hear that?
No, because I'm gonna answer with this. Just like the videos you made about all of the discussions between Callum Smith and Anthony Yarden about them fighting. William Skull wasn't even in the name mentioned, so I'm not even entertaining that dumbass name. So if y'all want to feed into that, that's on y'all. Y'all got
Okay,
100,000 jokes for that. We all know what David Benavidez plan is.
No,
Plan is
we all
David
know if he
Benavidez
fights
want
Skull,
either
it's gonna
Anthony
be a
Yard,
co-main. That's
he
gonna be
want
so much
motherfucking Callum
uglier.
Smith, and he want Bivol. That's what
okay,
it
if
is.
he
He's the
what
champ now. Call him
yeah.
the email. Call him
Come
what you
on,
want.
man.
The bottom
I'm not
line is
tripping.
Callum Smith need what he got.
Amazon. I call
Because
him Amazon, man.
he do want Bivol, don't it? Don't
He
he want
could
to be
he could
undisputed too?
he could simply wait for the winner of
Yeah, he
the
can.
trilogy,
He
because
can. Yes,
he's
he
a
can.
man.
Just like David could wait. Same thing.
And I don't
Only thing
take
David, as
I
a matter
don't
of fact,
take
isn't it David supposed to be waiting for the winner of the rubber match? Isn't it? So
I
what is all this extra talk?
Yeah, the
After
same
Callum
I
Smith,
David
don't
that
he's
listen.
that
supposed to
flew
be
away
I
getting
from
the
the
don't
winner
fight.
of the rubber match. Or did we forget
I
That
that?
same David that
I
flew away from the fight watching DuckTales on the fucking plane. Yeah.
Call what you
yeah,
want, but just like David
that's a
Benavidez said,
fact.
Well, hold on, Ashley,
I
hold on,
took
Turkey
Ashley,
you. I
one
called
second,
Allison
him
one
wanted
twice.
the
second.
man to fight fucking Callum Smith and fucking Alcatraz. Who the
Okay,
fuck is fighting on
one second,
Alcatraz?
Ashley.
IBP, can I
Ashley,
comment
Who's
on
one
this?
going
second.
to the
Hold on,
prison?
Ashley, 1 second. I got to get control of the panel. The only thing I'll tell you is this, Ashley. I know you disagree and you're not very happy to hear that William Skull's name being mentioned, but it still is not bringing this name up out of his own ass. He's saying this literally came from Jose Benavidez Sr., David's own trainer, father, a member of his team. So when we talk about a fighter's member of their team, if you realize Anthony Yarde and Callum Smith are still in negotiations. That's not saying
Wouldn't you
Benavidez
think
is still going to get that fight. We don't
when
know
you
how that's
think
going to
when you
play out.
think
Hold
Benavidez
on
would
one
have brought
second,
up
Ashley.
that
1 second,
name?
Ashley. 1 second. And if for whatever reason Smith and Yarde is the one that gets made and not Benavidez and Smith, and David turns around and fight William Skulls and say, well, nobody wanted to fight me, it looks like a pump fake because this name was mentioned while they were still in negotiations. So I know it's easy for you to want to ignore it, but it is unfortunate that a
But
fighter of his caliber would
answer
even
this
be
question,
looking,
Nuke.
and we got to keep the same energy. Hold on.
Answer this.
Hold on 1 second, Ashley. It's disappointing that a fighter of his caliber would be looking to fight a guy after getting beat by Canelo. And literally went in there for a payday, and that's a name that your team mentioned. If I was David, he needs to fire Sampson because that guy's giving him bad advice not to go to Saudi. He needs to fire his dad. One, he's a shit trainer, and two, the guy is sitting up here mentioning names like William Scope. He doesn't have the right people around him. I think David's an excellent fighter. I think that if he got the right trainer in his corner, the right promotion team, the right manager, this man could be a superstar, but he got the wrong people around him, and he got too many fanboys applauding every move. That's a problem.
Can
Well,
I
answer this
comment on
question.
this, IBP? Because I
Answer
got a
this
lot to
question.
say about this.
Hey, Nuke, can you answer this question for me?
Yeah, go
If
for it.
William Skull was in the fourth, was even in David Benavidez's mind, why didn't he bring that up when Cejudo and them asked him who was next? Why he didn't bring up? Why he didn't
Can I
bring up
answer
that
that?
next stuff?
Yeah, let's still answer that. Still want to answer that for you.
No, I'm
David
asking
Morrell,
you.
but
Listen,
I'm
man.
answering you.
Hold
But
on,
I'm
hold
answering
on,
you.
hold on,
But I'm
I don't take
relax.
nothing.
Ashley, you don't
answering.
dictate the show. Go ahead, Mills.
That's a long-winded motherfucker right there, man. Swear to God. But
He never shuts
but
up.
if it was he, what would he say, who he wasn't in his mind or whatever the case may be. David Morrell wasn't on that man's mind a couple of years ago, and he still ended up fighting him earlier this year. So I'm like, what point exactly is you trying to prove? Because he didn't mention the dude's name. He didn't mention David Morrell's name either a couple of years ago. Then he fought him earlier this year. All while Jose Sr. was saying that dude is he's in the scope next. So I'm like, what is we talking about?
It's funny. All this could be thrown out the window if motherfuckers just signed a contract, man. Everybody
Like
putting
David,
everything on David Benavidez, but I don't hear nobody calling this man out. Everybody mouth is fucking shut.
Bro, he's
I don't hear
winning.
nobody.
The same way,
Everybody.
the same way all the people put everything on Canelo.
Ashley,
Rolly Romero and fucking
hold
Rolly
on 1
Romero
second,
and
Ashley,
Benavidez
1
last.
second. Ashley, you got to wait 1 second. You can't say that when David's already turned down an offer to fight Callum Smith and could have just
because
waited
he
for
didn't
the
want to go to
trilogy.
Alcatraz.
So,
Isn't that what he said?
Hold on. You're talking about Saudi's the wrong place. You realize Alcatraz is in America. He said he wanted to fight in America. Now he don't want to fight in America.
He told you that's
not
where
making
Turkey
sense.
wanted to set the fight up.
No, hold on,
Oh,
Ashley.
Ashley,
You're not making sense.
get the pump.
Like there. What is you talking about?
You're not making sense.
IBP,
He wants to fight in America, or if he wants to fight in Saudi, he has all these restrictions on where he can fight. No,
Did you watch the
make
interview?
sense.
Did you watch the interview? He said when he
Did
flew
you?
out there, he said
Did
when he
you?
flew out there to
IBP.
Saudi. Listen, man, he said when he flew out to Saudi that they wanted to have him there to hype the fight. He said that the negotiation was he was trying to get him to fight Callum Smith on a individual card at fucking Alcatraz.
Okay, now let me respond. Still Mills so let me ask you this. Still Mills, did David Benavidez turn down a fight against Callum Smith from Turkey Al-Sheikh?
Yeah, he turned down the Alcatraz fight.
Hold on, actually, I'm just talking to Still real quick. Did he turn down a fight against Callum Smith with Turkey Al-Sheikh, putting up the money? So yes, he already turned down one fight, and he said he didn't want to fight in Alcatraz, and he also said that he would not fight Dimitri Bivol in Saudi Arabia. That's another fight that he said he would not do with the Saudis. And not only that, David is in the same position he was earlier this year by still being in negotiations with Callum Smith. You're not making fucking sense. What
listen, man? Why do I have to make sense?
IBP,
why do I have to make sense?
Hold on, let's go to Fight Sports real quick. Fight Sports, you can respond. Then we'll go to Jesse and Edgar and Untouchable in round one.
Yeah, for the last 2 weeks, I've been disappointed because Benavidez, first of all, Morrell got booked into a fight before he did, and he's the guy who took a beating in January. I was very happy yesterday to find out, after I was going on other people's shows saying I was disappointed with Benavidez, that it looks like the Smith Yard fight was possibly a rumor. And if that's the case, and if Smith out of his own mouth is being genuine, and I think he is, that PBC is reaching out to try and set up the David fight, I'll be happy. I don't even think that's the most competitive fight, but Callum Smith deserves it, and it's good for Benavidez's legacy. But if this fight doesn't happen, then Benavidez has made me look like an idiot because everybody knows I've been saying he'd be.
What? If Callum Smith don't sign the fucking fight, how is that going to be?
Let him finish, Ashley. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Ashley. I promise. Go ahead and finish Fight Sports.
Yeah, because if you're going to say that two all-time great light heavyweights, which is what Bivol and Beterbiev are, have to fight David, if you're going to come out with that rhetoric, you better jump over hills and mountains to make the biggest contender fights. So a big Benavidez fan, I cannot say how disappointed I will be if this fight doesn't happen. If it doesn't, for whatever reason, listen, Michael Effett is not good. He's slow. He's uncoordinated. Defense is terrible. I don't want to see that fight. Throw Alberto Ramirez in. He's not that great, but he's big, strong, hungry, undefeated Venezuelan. So Benavidez has to make this fight. If it doesn't, I cannot explain how disappointed I'll be because I'm going to look like an idiot. But if it does happen, then no problems. But also, last thing, Benavidez's excuses for not signing with Saudi were bullshit. Saying, I don't want to go to Saudi, man. It's like, shut the fuck up. You can, okay. I don't mind because fighters should go wherever they want. However, if the word loyalty comes out of Benavidez's mouth, as a huge Benavidez fan, I am going to lose it because we've heard loyalty how many times with PBC, like Tank Davis and Jamal Charlo, and I keep selling you guys and I keep getting shouted down for it. Benavidez is not like those guys, but if he does, I rest my case. Thank you.
You're right. Fight Sports. Listen, I'm on board with you, my friend. That makes sense.
Yes, brother.
You know, boxers have to understand that you have to earn your way through your career. You just can't fight for 5-10 years and think, okay, they all got to come to me. Listen, anyone wants to fight Canelo, you got to go to him. Anybody wants to fight Crawford, you got to go to him. But listen, David Benavidez, and I'll agree that, listen, his father's doing him no real favors. You know, I'm sure he means well for his son, but he's doing his own son no real favors. He needs to extricate himself from that position and get his son real. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jesse, I agree with you. I don't have a problem with Jose Benavidez, that is talking a load of shit, because everybody does it in boxing. What I do have a problem with, and to go off Steel Mill's point, is that if they are serious about William Skull, again, terrible, because that William Skull does not deserve it. But here's the thing: if this is all a bunch of hoopla that's going to lead to the Callum Smith fight, I'm good with that, because everybody talks shit in boxing. The problem is that they did turn down an offer from Turkey. No problems there. Turkey's not the god of boxing. I got no issues with that. But then they're saying they're letting everybody else get fights booked, including the guy Benavidez beat up in Morel, and they're doing interviews saying, well, maybe we fight this guy, maybe we fight this guy, maybe we fight that guy. And if the Jesse Hart fight happens, Steel Mills, I will sell you my house. Like,
that's not a bad deal, Steel. That's not a bad deal. You're gonna have a house in New Zealand.
Hey,
better not miss that contractual.
Can somebody answer this question for me? Who puts up the money for the fight? Al Heyman or David Benavidez and his team?
Al Heyman is broke.
Al Heyman.
Okay, so if Callum Smith doesn't take the offer that Al Heyman gives him, is that David Benavidez' fault?
it depends on how much that man is offering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can it match with?
Hold up. Can David Benavidez control how much Al Heyman offer Callum Smith?
Can he control it?
Yeah. Can he control how much money Al Heyman is going to offer Callum Smith?
Where are you going with this?
What I'm saying is, if Callum Smith don't take this offer and he takes the fucking Yard fight, because I'm pretty sure we all could agree, who would he benefit more fighting, Benavidez or Yard?
You're going.
Okay,
Wait.
I'm asking a simple question. Can you just answer the question? That's all.
No. Hold on, Ashley. You're trying to say that Al Heyman.
Nothing, man. I'm asking the question. It's a simple yes or no question.
Ashley, hang on. Ashley, your angle is saying that somehow Al Heyman, a guy that's been known not to pay his fucking fighters full purses or outright good money, is gonna outbid Turkey right now. That's what you're saying.
What is you talking about? Who said that? What I'm asking you is, listen, man. That's why I told you.
The fact of the matter is, listen. Let me finish. Shut up. The fact of the matter is, you're making up a fucking delusional makeup situation. The fact of the matter is, the dude Turkey with the real money put up a contract and your boy didn't sign. That is a fucking fact.
Can we please let Ashley finish?
I'm gonna say it again real slow, and maybe this time your kindergarten brain could keep up. What I ask you is, whatever Al Heyman offers Callum Smith and his team, right? If they don't take whatever Al Heyman is offering, just say he offered them $6 million. They don't want 6, they want 8 or 10. If they don't take that, is that David Benavidez's fault? That's what I asked.
Yeah, because he's not taking the other guys, so he's not taking that Turkey.
How is it David Benavidez's fault if Callum Smith and them don't want 8 million? If that's all that PBC could come up with, how is that David Benavidez's fault?
Turkey comes up with the money. David, 100 mil, fight Callum right now. 100 mil. You don't think he's gonna take that, or he's not? Bro, clearly he didn't take that because he's all for Al.
You already got fighters complaining about Turkey didn't pay them. Didn't you hear? Isn't Rolly on the news right now talking about he wouldn't put his money in escrow? How many fighters is out here arguing about Turkey and giving their money? We gonna skip over that? We gonna skip over that too?
Bro, who? Bro.
Go ahead. Explain the situation. You done said bro 3 times. Go ahead, explain.
What are you talking about? Callum Smith was in the last Turkey.
No, because y'all trying to make it like whatever PBC offered Callum Smith, if his team don't take that, it's David Benavidez for because they didn't take that money.
He got paid. So what the fuck you talking about? Come on, man, get out of here, bro. What the fuck?
Do you think PBC can match what Turkey put out there as far as the offer is concerned?
Can't nobody match what Turkey put out. Nobody.
So why not take it?
No, I'm not saying it's like the same.
Hold on. What were you saying, Phil? I didn't get you. I didn't get you to finish that.
No. I was just saying, can Al Heyman match with Turkey, like the offer that Turkey put out there? And
no, nobody can. Nobody in boxing can match Turkey.
So
Turkey is making shit happen because before Turkey came, everything was pay-per-view. Y'all remember that, right? Everything was you're the face of boxing if you got the pay-per-views and the sales. So once Turkey came, everybody wanted to go across seas, overseas. 18-hour flight. Remember that? Everybody wanted to go over there. Why? Because it wasn't about no more pay-per-views. It was about because Turkey going to give you 50 million, 10 million, 20 million, this million, that million, right?
So with that being said, why not just take that money with Turkey Al Sheikans? Because you know Al Heyman ain't gonna be able to match that. So that right there shows a pump fake in itself, my dude. Like he's
How
not.
listen, how is it listen, man, how is it a pump fake? We don't know what we don't first of all, we don't know. We
Ashy.
learn that
It's like
every interview we finding
take
out something
Turkey
new.
off the thing. Take
They
Turkey
already
off the
saying
thing.
that it was a fraud charge going against fucking they try to keep Bivol out of a fraud charge because he wouldn't tell the real numbers of what the fuck Turkey gave him and fucking better be for that first fight and the second fight.
Boy, he
And who
got
was the?
more than
Because
he
they were
got paid
saying
last
they were
time.
saying 10 million. You know, Suleiman and them was talking about 2.6 or some shit like that was out there. So they investigating Bivol right now. It's an investigation going on about fraud. So we don't know how much fucking money this man
Why ain't
gave.
no
You
one
would
in
only get in
I'm
trouble if you
talking
got more
about?
money than what you're supposed to. You wouldn't get in trouble if you got less money. That makes no fucking sense.
Exactly.
What the
So you
fuck?
listen, man. So you
You
talking shit to
wouldn't
me? It
get in
don't make sense.
trouble
So
if you
tell me
got
why is
less
he under
money.
investigation? Tell me
You would
why is
get
he
in
under
trouble if you would
investigation then?
get more money.
Tell me why is
What
he
the
under
fuck?
investigation then?
Okay,
You
okay,
sitting here
listen.
telling me
Oh
that
my
don't make sense.
god.
So tell me why
Bro,
they have
the
him under
words that are coming
investigation
out of
then.
your mouth make
Okay,
no
look,
sense.
Ashley,
No
So if he
logical fucking sense.
is
what
he or
I'm
is he
saying,
not under
bro.
investigation
Look,
for
we
fraud?
don't
Is
know,
he?
bro. We don't know, bro. So
We
I've
don't
never
know
heard
that.
that
And
personally.
again,
I've
you
never heard
only get
that.
in trouble for taking more money. You don't get in trouble for taking less money.
Listen, I don't
What
care
the
if it's
fuck is
more or less.
wrong
okay,
with
I'm just
you?
okay,
letting you know
look.
that the
It's
man
like
is under.
Canelo.
I don't go.
Canelo took the
Listen, I'm not.
Bivol
I'm
fight.
not police. I'm
So
not a
then
judge.
don't even
I'm
bring it
not
up
into the
then.
court.
Why would you
I'm
bring
not
it up
into the
then?
court. I'm bringing it
So
up
then
because
why bring it up?
I'm bringing it up because there's already fighters complaining about
You
them
don't know
not
what
getting
the
their
fuck you're
money.
talking about, so
That's
don't
why
bring it
Okay,
up.
yeah, yeah.
I'm bringing it up
Shakur
because fighters
ain't
are complaining
complaining
about getting their money.
for
I'm pretty sure you
Christians.
don't heard that.
Hey, Shakur
I
ain't
haven't heard that.
complaining for
You
I
haven't
have
heard.
not heard
Christians.
either.
So ain't nobody heard
So I
Rolly
don't know,
Romero talk about he didn't get his money in escrow. Ain't
bro.
nobody
This
You
heard
don't,
that yet.
no,
you don't think
no.
And
that's
he
kind of
demanding his pay
coincidental
in
that he?
escrow. He didn't get that.
You
So he
don't think?
lying. He lying.
You don't think
So
that's
he
a
telling a lie on
coincidence?
Turkey. So ain't nobody on this
Let's
panel
still
didn't hear
talk.
nothing about no fighters not getting their money. Please
You,
in the comments. Somebody type in the comments. Ain't nobody heard that. Nobody.
I'm saying, like, you don't think
Bro,
that's
you're
kind of a
bringing it back
coincidence
to
that
Christians.
Rolly, the one of the few dudes who still showing loyalty to
That's
the
just
PBC,
one.
would say
He's
some?
just
No, no.
one.
Who? Okay, well, name me another one.
I ain't read.
Let's
Listen,
not
I didn't read the trust.
He
I
don't
didn't
got
read the
it.
court
He don't have it.
transcripts. I
let's
didn't
not
read the
forget
court
there were
transcripts to
Come on,
all know
let's
Ashley.
not
who's
forget there
who's
were
Okay,
trying to see
first
this
rumors
of
man.
all,
happening.
I
You
don't
first
know
of
body
all,
all.
bag
first of
That's
all,
yourself.
none of my
Come
Let's
on,
business.
not
why
forget
Ashley.
you
these
bringing
were.
up Rolly?
Let's
First of
not
all,
forget there were
All right.
rumors that Bivol.
Hold on.
the first thing you
Let's hold it
said,
here real quick.
Ashy.
Let's kind of get back to boxing for 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was trying to say.
yeah.
Fuck it.
Just for 1 second, we got a lot of hypotheticals going on. We got a lot of this, a lot of that. I mean, you got certain fans on here playing promoter and saying, well, they should sign with this guy and go
Listen,
fight over
man.
here. And
This
how
this
dare
this
you talk about him
No,
and
this,
all of
no.
this
this
is
stuff.
all I know.
So
This is all I know.
hold on,
This
Ashley,
is
I'm
all I know.
talking,
I'm gonna let
please.
y'all talk.
Hold on, Ashley. Let me finish. Everybody can speak. I just want to say this. So, before these guys get to taste the Benavidez nuts in their mouth, I really just want to say that we really should focus a little more on the fights. My question is, let me start with Jesse. Jesse, how do you see a Benavidez Callum Smith fight playing out right now? Do you think that's a highly competitive fight, or do you think it's completely one-sided, one way for one guy?
No, I think it'll be competitive. I think it will be. Listen, I don't want to discount Benavidez at all. We have to look at the tangibles of the fight. They both bring a lot of assets to the ring. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm not much of a Benavidez fan. I want to be, but again, his father just kind
Coach,
of
stop it,
distracts.
Coach. You
Yeah.
already know what it is, man. You know Benavidez is a bad matchup for Callum Smith. Stop it, man. You're a
No,
coach, man. You
listen,
know this.
Okay, no,
How
listen.
about
no,
you
What
let
you
him
know
Okay,
finish?
is
How about
that
you
let
let him
the
finish
coach
and don't cut
finish,
him off?
Ashley. Hold on, Ashley. Let the coach
you guys,
finish. 1 second.
yeah, let's just do one at a time so I can actually hear everyone. Actually, so here's the thing. Benavidez, listen, he's got a lot of good attributes. Callum Smith, listen, this is why we want to see fights. We want to see the best fight the best. We want to see the best matches. We want to get the right promoters. Al Heyman, nice guy. A lot of speculation out there. It's just speculation. We don't know. We're not there, but, listen, this fight could be legit. It could be legit. You can see something in David. I want to see David. I'd love to see Canelo and Benavidez fight, but hey, that's probably not going to happen. But the thing is that why not? Callum Smith, I want to see Benavidez fight more and earn his way in. You got to put your You got to put your work boots on and get to work. You just can't stay stagnant and argue about money or contracts. Make the fight happen. You're still young. You take all that you can. Once you're fighting everybody, then you can call your own shots like Canelo's doing.
That's a great point. Great analysis. Great analysis. Who's next? Who wants to follow this?
I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll
look,
just
that's what I'm
quickly.
saying.
I'll just quickly say this. I'll just quickly say this. I don't even think David Benavidez. I don't think Benavidez Callum Smith is that competitive. I've said it. Now, I was very wrong about Callum Smith picking. I picked Boatsi to beat Callum Smith, and boy, did he prove me wrong. With that being said, Smith's never done well against pressure fighters, and maybe all you clickbait motherfuckers out there can make more videos clowning me for this pick. Benavidez to me beats Smith one-sidedly because Smith never deals with pressure fighters well, and Benavidez is a still. You can still don't look at me like that. You know it's true.
I mean, I can
Smith
see David
doesn't
getting
do well
dropped
with
by
pressure
Smith.
fighters. So, okay, I don't think the fight's that competitive. I want Smith to get a shot. I want him to get paid well, but I don't think the fight's that competitive. And maybe I'll be proven wrong, and still you can make your funny faces, but it's just my opinion.
All right, I'm gonna say this, man.
I can rock with you when you got takes like that. See, you're a smart man. I rock with
Let's still get his real quick.
All right, so man, I've always been, not always, but I really started. I've been pushing for this fight for about a year now, close to it at least, man. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Everybody brings up the pressure. This fucking guy. Everybody brings up the pressure of a David Benavidez and how Callum Smith usually folds up under the pressure, which is that's true. And because of that, it's a 50-50 fight. But David Benavidez doesn't bring the nuances in that pressure that John Ryder, Canelo, and Benavidez did, which is feet. John Ryder had the lead foot position on him with him being in the southpaw, fighting out of the southpaw stance. He was able to tap to the outside of that man's lead hand and close distance like that and flush to Callum Smith and force him to his back foot and keep him on the rope for a large amount of the fight. Canelo was just a really good counter puncher, really good upper body movement, really good catch and shoot counters. And with better BF, it's the same thing with him, except he's bigger, he's more durable, and he punches like a fucking mule. David doesn't have those ingredients. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and his pressure. He's probably the best pressure fighter of all the three. Not even probably. I think he's definitely the best pressure fighter of the three. David doesn't have those ingredients, but I do think he's durable, and I think his volume punching and combination punching is what's going to keep him in the fight and possibly win him the fight. But there's more nuance in Callum Smith's game. David's going to have to worry about his straight shots. His jab is 1-2. Even when he closes the distance, the uppercut up the middle, he has a really good uppercut in the pocket that he's really been displaying, especially in his last fight with Boatsi. And his biggest weapon in that fight is his catch and shoot counter left hook. David Benavidez is not a dude who necessarily sets up his shots, and I'm not saying that as a diss. He doesn't set up
this kind of sound like your take when David
Benavidez. Let him finish real quick, Ashley.
Hold on. I'll get to you in a minute, Ashley. But David Benavidez is not a dude who sets up his punches or nothing like that, man. He just throws shots, and I don't mean that to throw shade at him or nothing like that. I don't. But when he starts letting go of them backhands, and Callum starts catching it on his lead hand and starts shooting that left hook back down, like how is he gonna know how to deal with that? Because he's not no dude who counter punches. He's not no dude who can draw out your lead hand to counter you. That's not his game. He leans back often, man.
Wait, Steele, can I ask you something? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, there's more nuance and more. Callum is a more difficult puzzle to solve just because of the skill set that he has. But David Benavidez's pressure is what makes this fight such a compelling fight and why he can win the fight.
Before everybody else will go, I just got to ask you. And look, you and I are gonna have to do another one-on-one chat about this.
Oh, definitely.
Did you just say that Callum Smith is more nuanced than Benavidez, and Benavidez doesn't counterpunch well? Really?
Absolutely. He's not a counter puncher.
Okay.
He's not.
That's why I don't take him serious when he says
he's not a counter puncher. We don't take you serious. That's why you said no.
I know y'all don't, but
it's a whole bunch of fighters that complaining about Turkey.
Around this time in the next 2 to 3 years, when Canelo hit the door, all y'all gonna be on here singing.
Talking about Canelo, my man. Why you keep talking about? We talking about your man, dog.
Y'all gonna be talking about him even more. within the next 2 to 3 years.
No,
Once
we
Canelo
not.
hit the
I
belt.
wouldn't be
we're not.
surprised if he
We're gonna
retired in the
see.
next 2 or 3
Okay,
years.
remember you said
David
that.
don't want no drama with
Remember
nobody.
you said that.
David
Either
don't want
you're
no
gonna be
drama with
talking about
nobody.
him or you're gonna be hating, like you're
David
doing
don't
now.
want no drama with
One of the
nobody,
two.
man.
Like I
Just prove
said,
me
we're gonna
wrong.
see
That's
in the
all I'm
next 2
asking
to 3.
for. That's all I'm
We're gonna
asking
see in the
for.
next 2 to 3.
Just prove me wrong, man. I would love to be proven wrong, but shit, you got
I
to
am.
sign the
That's why I'm
contract.
telling you,
I'm not
hold
talking about
on.
you. I'm talking about your man. I'm
No,
not
no,
talking
no.
about you.
I know that. That's why I said, hold on. Give him about 2 to 3, and you're gonna be on here singing a different tune. Trust.
2 to 3 years?
I just want
Yeah.
to add this one thing. I think the frustration. I think the frustration that people is having, Ashley, is what you're
I know.
missing here.
Listen, man. I
Hold
understand
on one
everything you're
second,
gonna
Ashley. One
say,
second,
man.
Ashley. One second. The frustration that people are having is we want to see David in a big fight. Everybody supports David. Nobody's against David. You think it's a David or a Canelo thing. We can like them both. I think the issue that we're having is every time David's name is mentioned is he can't fight here. He can't fight there. You just admitted that the Saudi's going to bring the biggest bag, but you can't fight in Saudi or Alcatraz. Like, why is it an issue when the money's on the line
I'm
from the
gonna tell
guy
you
that's
why.
offering the biggest check?
I'm gonna tell
I'm
you
not
why.
understanding. And hold on. And then they're not only the biggest checks, they're the biggest fights. They're the biggest fights. And this is the guy that can basically give you the fights you want. He talked Canelo into fighting Crawford. Maybe he could talk Canelo into fighting David. Maybe that could happen. But David is not being patient and respectful enough, or he has the wrong team around him. There's a problem here. And the issue that we're having with you, Ashley, is that you're not paying attention to everything. You're just saying, well, David can beat everybody. All of these are easy
Listen,
fights.
man.
Then
I'm gonna
why is
prove
he
it to you.
rejecting fights?
I'm gonna prove it to you right now.
Prove it.
Facts.
Out of between 175, right, and 168, name me what fighter, last 5 fights was better than David Benavidez. Name them right now. I'm gonna put you on the clock.
Hold
I'm gonna
on.
wait.
From
I'm gonna wait.
175, hold on,
No,
175
between
and
any fighter
168?
from 168 to 175, tell me who last 5 fights opponents been better than David Benavidez, and I'll
Better be
wait.
Evan Bivol.
Name they last 5
Body
fights.
bag.
Name they last 5
I only
fights,
need
and
their
tell me if
last
their
fight. Better be
opponents is
Evan
no.
Bivol.
Tell me
Callum
they
and
last 5
Duatsi.
fights.
Hold on, Ashley.
Tell
Let
me
me
they last
finish.
5 fights.
Hold
Bivol
on, you
fought
asked me that
Canelo before he
question.
fought him.
I don't even need to name the last 5. The fact that Better be Evan Bivol fight each other, even just one fight, is better than the last entire career of David. What are we talking about? So you said all that just to glaze David. I like David. I support David, and I want him to
You're
get the big
body
fights.
bagging
I think
yourself,
he's a
man.
great
Answer the
talent.
question.
Hold on. I think he's a great talent. But all this gobbling got to stop. It got to stop, bro. Just be a boxing fan.
Can you name the fighters? Can you name the fighters? That's all I ask. Name
I
the
just
fighters.
named one. There's no fight on David's
Okay,
resume,
gonna
and
name
David
David
himself
Benavidez.
is not better than Bivol or
Listen, man. I'm gonna
Benavidez.
name
What are you
David
talking
Benavidez.
about? Do you not understand the
I'm gonna
statement?
name David Benavidez last 5 fights, and you tell me who 5 fights been better. Okay, we gonna do it like that. Okay. Tell me the competition. Who was better? We got Plant. We got Boo Boo, undefeated. Right? We got Bostic.
Your facial reactions are hilarious.
We got Bostic that only lost to Better Be. Only been retired for a year and a half.
He want to go down this road, so I'm gonna do it.
He was only retired for a year. Then we got David Morrell. A lot
He's only
that
retired for a
everybody.
year.
No.
The same fighter that everybody said David Benavidez was ducking, and the same one that everybody in 168 was getting knocked the fuck out by. So tell me whatever fighter who last 4 to 5 fights opponents been better than David Benavidez.
Okay, let me do that. First off, I'm gonna say Dimitri Bivol. So we're gonna compare.
Hold
on, no, you asked me a question.
Name his last 5 fights. You got to name the fighters.
Can you let me respond? You gotta be quiet. You too long-winded, my brother. You gotta just hold it for 1 second. So David Benavidez' last 5 fights, and this is really terrible because the last 5 fights that you're bragging about don't make any sense when you compare them to Dimitri Bivol.
You can't talk shit about none of those opponents.
Dude, let me finish. I'll let you talk. So when we talk about David's last 5 fights, let's see what hold on. So we have David Lemieux.
Right.
So this is a blow. Hold on. Actually, you got to shut up and let me speak.
I'm just agreeing with you. I'm not talking over you.
So David Lemieux was a wash 100. Please. David Lemieux was a wash 160-pound fighter.
Oh, he washed.
Hold on. Let me finish. Do not interrupt me, sir. David Lemieux was you asked for this ass whooping. David Lemieux was a wash 160-pound fighter that moved up to 168, and David beat. Anybody saying that? Hold on. We're going fight by fight. Fight by fight.
Right.
All right. So we got David Lemieux. And then when you look at,
is he a champion? Yes or no?
he was
Is
not a
David
champion at
Lemieux?
168.
No. Before
he
you
was
put
not.
Wash,
Ashley, please stop talking.
make sure
Ashley,
you
please stop
no
talking.
man. You got to tell the accolade. You can't tell half the story.
Hold on. I'm gonna have to mute you, Ashley, because you're not listening. David Lemieux was a watch fighter, moved up in weight, and was not a world champion when he fought David Benavidez. That's a fact.
Okay, next.
All right, hold on, Ashley. You can't interrupt me. You cannot interrupt me.
I'm not interrupting you. I just said
you
next.
keep talking. So there you go. So David Lemieux was trash. At 168, he had accomplished nothing. He was doo-doo butter. And so then you compare Dimitri Bivol's fifth fight to Gilberto Sordo Ramirez, who's now a champion at at cruiserweight, and Gilberto Ramirez was undefeated and he was in his prime when Dimitri Bivol took him to school.
Okay, yeah, that's one.
Hold on, shut up, Ashley. And he won every single round. You asked for this beat down. So that's 1-0. Then you talk about David Benavidez's next fight was Caleb Plant, who had already been stopped by Canelo Alvarez. Then you compare that to Lyndon Arthur. I'll give David that one. I will put Plant over Arthur. I'll give him that one.
Former champion to that?
Actually, shut up.
Can you add former champion?
Hold on. So that's 1-1.
No, can you add former champion? No, you got to put the accolades now.
Was he a champion when David fought him?
It don't matter. He's a former champion. He's a former champion. Isn't that how you build your resume when you fight champions and former champions?
Hold on. Is there a difference between fighting an active champion and a former champion?
All right, was Sugar Shane the champion
when
Sugar Shane the champion when he fought?
You're not gonna beat around the bush.
Was Sugar Shane the champion or was he a great?
So I'm sorry, I cannot do this. So this is what I mean. The casuals don't understand. There's a difference from taking a belt from a guy and fighting a guy that used to have a belt. Actually,
you keep
just talking out of his ass today.
If you want to body bag me, you got to body bag me with the same energy.
You're sitting up here interrupting.
I'm not interrupting you. You got to we got to give out.
You gotta shut the fuck up.
No, because you're giving out fake ass stats.
Here's what we're gonna do. Ashley, go in the room, open a bag of shut the fuck up and take a few.
You're giving.
You gotta open a bag and shut the fuck up and eat a few.
Don't just say they was washed and so and so beat them. Let everybody know what kind of.
I can't do it.
You got casuals on here that don't know Caleb Plant, so make sure you let the casuals know what Caleb Plant.
You
know
what
is. Let them know. No, because you're skipping over that. No, you just saying he Caleb Plant who lost to so and so. That's what you're saying. But you're not saying how good.
Caleb Plant was he a former champion or a current champion?
He was a former champion.
Okay, I'm not bringing up a guy that used to have a belt. It's
why not?
Pointless in this conversation.
Man, why not when you got casuals looking at your show? They need to know who these fighters
is. They need to know that he was a former champion. That makes him look worse.
How would that make him look worse? Everybody's not going to stay undefeated forever, bro. You're going to lose. You're going to win belts. You're going to win belts. You're going to lose belts. What is you talking about? You're talking like everybody got to stay undefeated.
Hold on. I figured out what it. We'll move on. He's filibustering because he's scared. He already know he lost the argument.
Go ahead. No, I'm just telling you when you. I'm telling you when you tell a story. When you tell a story, put it out there.
I'm frustrated about it because we know he already lost. He don't want to let me finish. I'll start bringing up Ramirez.
I'm gonna shut up.
Go ahead and finish. Up David Lemieux.
I'm just gonna come behind. Just let me come behind you and clean it up.
It's okay.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, but just let me come behind you and clean up everything you leave out.
Hold on, Ashley. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take a quick vote on the panel right now. Whose last five fights were better? Dimitri Bivol's or David Benavidez? And I'll let the panel decide.
Listen, that's just one.
Hold on. The panel will decide. We won't decide. The panel will decide. Okay? The panel will decide. So, Steele, Raider, Jesse, Edgar, who do you guys believe had the better run the last 5 fights? And whatever you guys vote on, we will respect.
Yeah. Please. Keep it 100
now. And it's not even fucking close.
They're all trying to speak their piece, please.
Listen, man, when you vote the fighter, you got to vote.
Okay, they're going to vote. You're not going to set parameters for nobody, dude. All right, Jesse, Edgar, Untouchable, Mills. Who do you guys got in the last 5 fights? Who had the better run in the last 5 fights, David or Bivol?
Bivol, and it's not even fucking close, man. It's not even close. You beat Benavidez, not Benavidez, but you beat Better BF twice. You beat Lyndon Arthur, Zordo. Let me see who was and so that was his. Hold on, no, it was.
There was another one in between. There was another one
he
in
had
between.
Nah, it
Malik,
was his last fight. It
Zanad,
was
Lyndon Arthur,
Benavidez.
Gilberto Ramirez, and Better BF twice. And then David on his
No,
end,
Malik Zanad.
Malik Zad.
Listen, man.
And,
Listen,
and
man.
David had Morel, Volsic, Andrade, and Plant and Lemieux.
Listen, you know what's killing me with y'all? Y'all naming the undisputed champion right now.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Actually, they're not done voting.
Lord.
So Mills had placed his vote for Dimitri Bivol, untouchable Raider. Who did you have better in the last 5 fights? Was it Bivol or Benavidez?
I got Bivol.
All right.
Name the last. I mean, did y'all name all 5?
Hold on, Ashley.
I mean, no.
Hold on. And Edgar, who did you have the last 5 fights? Better resume, better run, Bivol or Benavidez?
Do I even have to say it? Like, what the fuck is the obvious? It's Bivol. Like, he went undisputed. What the fuck?
Listen, man.
Hold on 1 second, Ashley. Jesse, would you care to respond? I think we already know you got Bivol here, but would you like to just explain anything or?
Not really, but you guessed right.
Listen, man.
Hold on, Ashley. No, Ashley. It's a 4-0 sweep. Everybody with a brain, everybody with brain cells agreed. The guy fighting for undisputed, the guy fighting for legacy, that guy had a better run. So the fact that you get on here and
that's why,
we both said we'll respect whatever the panel said.
That's why I was saying. That's why I was saying when you was muting me.
Your loss.
No, because when you was muting me, I didn't know I was mute. I was still talking. That's why I was saying, as I was being muted, because you wasn't listening because you muted me. What I was trying to say while I was muted was, you can't really count the undisputed champion because we all know he's undisputed. So he don't even count. I said name somebody.
How do you not count that?
Listen, man. I said name somebody.
That's like the highest accolade.
Y'all just naming one person.
That
name
is the
somebody
highest
else.
accolade in a weight class.
Fight? Can you name another fighter besides Bivol? Can you name another
fighter?
Can you name another fighter besides Bivol?
Gilberto Ramirez, Ashy Knuckles. Gilberto Ramirez.
I said in 175 and 168.
That is 175.
That is 175.
No, Roberto Ramirez is not. Roberto Ramirez is not in 168 or 175 right now.
He fought him at 75. You said
you're not listening, bro. You're doing too much talking.
Shut up.
You're doing too much talking, but that's why I say y'all don't be listening, bro.
You don't be listening.
I'm not talking about who he fight.
All right, hold on. We gotta pay. Hold on 1 second, Ashley. We gotta pay some bills. Let's get to the comments and see what everybody.
Hold on, man. You can pay the bill.
Hold on, Ashley. Hold on. We gotta pay some bills. Mike Trey says Ashley talks like David Morrell, Boo Boo Andre, Caleb Plant are better than Better BF, and like Bivol, like bro, Better BF and Bivol would seriously hurt all of these guys. Easy work. And I think everybody that's a true boxing fan knows this, respects this, and understands this. And simply levels in boxing, and nobody's saying this to take anything away from David. He's a good fighter. But when you hold on, but when you get personally offended that somebody says something about David you don't like, how dare you speak about David?
Listen,
don't do that to David. It makes you wonder where's all this estrogen coming from that you're so upset that somebody would say something about David's resume. I don't understand. We like David. Nobody's shitting on David. Nobody's saying David's a bad fighter. He had a good 5-fight run. Nobody's mad at that. But when you compare it to Bivol's, who's elite, it doesn't stack up. You gotta let the goblin go. That's it.
And I'm gonna say it again.
Don't say it again. Save yourself some time. You're making yourself look crazy.
I'm gonna say it again.
Hold on 1 second. Let me keep going. Santiago says Mirage is begging to get on. Keep him off, Nuke. I should have kept Ashy ass off. This is killing brain cells.
No, listen, man. I'm gonna say it.
Let me get through these bills real quick, my brother. I'm
gonna say it one more time, man, and it's not gonna be long.
Let me get through the bills.
Quick. Just listen, man. You had me on mute because I kept telling you to exclude.
Bro, you gonna make me pull you off the stage, Ashley,
I kept telling you to exclude Bivol, and you had me on mute. So y'all arguing no fucking argument. I told you to name somebody else besides Bivol.
Okay, I don't care. Hold on, Ashley. Let me finish the bill. We'll get back to you.
That's what I thought.
Okay, whatever makes you feel better. So Antonio Garcia says, why can't Benavidez prove me wrong now? That's a great point. Why can't he prove everybody wrong right now and step up and take those fights and knock him out the way? Because if he doesn't get the Callum Smith or Anthony Yard fight, who is there left to fight? And if you say William Skull, that's a cherry pick.
Y'all tell me.
That's a cherry pick.
Listen,
we all have to call it for what it is.
Obviously, David Benavidez got to fight who y'all want him to fight. So y'all tell me. Y'all are the experts. I don't know shit.
Hold on. This is his same logic about Canelo. He has to fight who he wants you to fight. Like
y'all the
bro,
experts,
you sound like
so y'all tell me.
You saying
That's
the
what I'm
same
saying.
shit. You're defeating your own point. What are we talking about?
If they don't sign a contract,
and hold on. And Ashley Knuckles reminds me to bring up this point. Wear condoms, kids. Mistakes can't be taken back. Use contraceptives. Please put on a condom. Thank you. That's a message from your neighborhood boxing fan.
That's let me know you a straight clown, Nuke.
Hold on. And Mr. Wright says Benavidez
and I'm glad you
counterpunches
be
with his
exposing
face.
yourself for your own subscribers.
Hold on. Mr. Wright says Benavidez counterpunches with his face. We've seen it. We understand. Ashley would disagree. He would get on here and have a 30-minute speech about why he's counterpunching with his face is not real and how we're all haters and how he has a better resume than Dimitri Bivol. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've never seen anything like this.
For 20 minutes
Antonio
like
Garcia
you do.
says,
for 20 minutes like you do.
Hold on. Antonio Garcia says Ashley Knuckle gets his info from Mirage and Southpaw. That sounds about right. My brother doesn't call him Ashley Knuckles. He calls him Karen Knuckles. It's going to be stress eating tonight. That sounds about right.
20 minutes.
Hold on, Ashley. When I'm done paying bills, I'll let you speak. Borax
you didn't let me speak. You had me on mute.
I'm putting you on mute. Shut up. That's a sign. Shut up. Borax Mustache says Ashy vibes change as soon as David Benavidez topic comes up. How dare y'all badmouth his man? I mean, the guy is literally offended. Offended. I've never seen this before. Minutes, you could never call a Canelo fan a fanboy behaving this way.
20 minutes.
I swear this man has some David Benavidez panties on somewhere. Like
you're
this
a clown for 20 minutes.
This has a David G-string up his ass because I can't finish the sentence. I really
you
can't.
can't because you be lying.
This is crazy. Hold on. Ashley, we do know that David's plans clout chase, eat leftovers, and he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame right next to Demetrius Andre. Salute to Domo for keeping it real. Domo also says, Ashley, we don't know what David's plan is. Why is he negotiating in a fight he was already offered in a different location? Why does location matter? And that location was in the U.S., you dumb piece of shit. The same place he said he wanted to fight in the biggest payday. He's a fucking moron, and you're a moron for ignoring these facts. Like, damn, this shit is getting out of hand.
You still didn't answer the question, man.
Dealing with this shit. This dude's remedial. Domo said someone on a live news. I'm not even going Borat's Mustache says the good big man beats the little big man, little good man. And that's Canelo Crawford. I think that's what he's referencing when we talked about that. And one baller says Garage said mandatories don't exist. Is that true? Garage is a moron. Cali Mexican says when Canelo fights dudes his size, he knocks them out. When David fights dudes his size, he gets knocked down. Well, we seen David get dropped by Ronald Gavril. That's a fact. That's a fact. Nobody's shitting on him. That's a fact. And salute to Edgar for your super chat, Edgar. I appreciate it, my brother. Being that what do you need to say so bad?
Because for like 20 minutes, right? You was arguing a non-argument. Because see what you don't tell the panel and what you don't tell your subscribers. What you do is when I talk, right, I'll say something, then you'll mute me, right? That's what you do. You mute me, right? And you'll be saying what you got to say, right? Getting everything out. Because the whole time I said exclude. Why you had me on mute? When I was trying to talk, I said exclude Bivol. I said besides Bivol, name somebody who had the 5 better opponents. But see, what you did was you kept the topic that I was arguing that Bivol didn't have a better fight. I told you to exclude him and name 5. So what you did that whole time was saying that I was trying to argue Bivol shit was worse than Benavidez. I said name somebody besides Bivol. That's how I was saying.
I'm confused, Luke. Is this your show or is this Ashley's show?
Bivol. But no, you kept running with the Bivol shit, right? That's what you do. That's why I say, yo, you was a phony, my guy. Keep it real. That's all you got to do. Won't you tell?
Okay, so let's go down Benavidez. Let's go Benavidez last 5 fights.
You just flip it. You just use Benavidez. Benavidez, Callum Smith, Anthony Yard, and Joe Smith Jr.
Last 5 fights.
Bivol twice, Callum Smith, Anthony Yard, and Joe Smith Jr. Those are the last 5 fights. You just flip it. You use that guy. So should we exclude him too? Should we exclude him too?
Anthony Yard got more accomplishments than Cato Plan did. Is he a champion? Was he a champion?
Why are you changing the subject?
Listen,
We
man,
just
I
use
said
someone
his
else.
5
You
best
want us to
opponents.
exclude him as
So
well?
listen, when I say 5 best, see, that's why I say, man, y'all must got kindergarten brains. If I
No,
say
you got
5
the
best,
kindergarten
listen, man,
brain. We don't
I
even
say
know if you got a
if I
preschool
say,
brain at this
can you
point.
listen, man? If I say his 5 last opponents, what I mean when I say last 5 opponents, that means if he was a champion, right? Because that's what make your resume, right? Because
Okay, with Joe Smith
all the
Jr.
greats that Canelo fought is what made him who he is, right? Which means when he
So,
fought Sugar Shane,
What's the 5
because
fighters?
Sugar Shane
so,
wasn't no motherfucking champion when he beat
oh
him,
my
but it
lord,
made him a great. Why? Because Sugar Shane was a champion. He was a great. Am I right or am I wrong? So what
you're
I'm
wrong. It's 2
asking y'all
left feet.
is, y'all gotta look at who Plant fought, right? He was a champion. Even though y'all can say who he lost, who got knocked out by. Okay, the only one who knocked him out was Canelo, and Canelo is a great. So if y'all want to call him a bum because he lost to Canelo, okay, cool. I can't say what y'all criteria is, but what y'all can't say is y'all can't name too many people on 168 or in 175 who last 5 fighters records or have better accomplishments than the last 5 people that fucking Benavidez fought. Because
Also, better.
Gavastik ain't nobody but the only person that knocked him out in he was fighting in 175. The only person that beat him is Better Beef, which is great. We all know this, right? Ain't nobody else knock him the fuck out. Boo Boo, y'all call him a bum, call him what the fuck you want. Couldn't nobody else beat him, and he got beaten the fashion day. He quit. The motherfucker sat on a stool
Because
and
Boo Boo
said,
didn't fight
"Listen, man,
anybody.
the man sat on the stool. The
He
man sat
didn't
on the
fight
stool.
anybody.
The man,
That's why he
it don't
fucking
matter.
got beat up in that
Listen,
last
man,
fight.
it don't matter who.
Now it doesn't matter.
Don't
Now it
matter
doesn't
what
matter.
y'all say.
Now it doesn't
Oh my
matter. Now it doesn't
lord,
matter
Daddy or
still.
not.
It don't
This
matter
is
now
what it
still.
is. The
this
man
dude is
sat on the
wild.
stool and said one of the most famous Latino
Ashley.
words ever. The man
Ashley.
said no mas, man. He said no mas,
Ashley.
no more. So
Hey,
let's move on
Ash.
to the next person. Let's move on to the
Ash.
next person.
Can we
No,
hear the
Ash,
because
I got
coach?
we going off accolades, man. You
Coach, can we,
gotta weigh that in. You can't leave that out. You
coach,
can't leave that
speaking
out.
of,
You gotta add that in there.
coach, please get
So
him,
we gotta
please.
broaden the picture. See, that's what y'all do. Y'all just say, "Oh,
Ash.
he's a bum.
Ash.
He was a
Ash.
bum. He didn't do this. He didn't do that."
Hold
Hey.
on, Ashley.
But
Okay,
Plant
The
held the
listen.
coach is
belt.
trying to respond to
Ash.
you, Ashley. One
Anthony
second,
Yard
Ashley.
ain't hold no motherfucking belt. Who the
Ashley,
fuck he beat?
Ashley, the
Right.
coach
When
is
did he
trying to
win the belt?
respond. Ashley,
nigga, bro.
When did he win the
the
belt?
coach is trying to Ashley, the coach is trying to respond. Please,
Wow,
the
man.
floor is
Hey.
yours, coach.
Yeah. So listen, Ash. Listen, man. I kind of get what you mean a little bit, but talk less, man. Say less. What's your point exactly? What's specifically your point
This is the
from
point.
all this and why
No,
5, why 3?
coach, I'm gonna break it down because you're gonna be the only one that's really gonna have
Well, keep it
more. You're
simple.
gonna have
Let's
more
keep
facts
it
and more
simple and
jokes.
short.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna keep it simple and short. They talk
It's gonna
on
be
here
very
like
hard.
they talk on here like David Benavidez is sitting out like he's ducking, like he want to fight the leastest opposition. What they fail to realize is right now he's giving the most hardest fights than any other fighter within the last 2-3 years. Ain't nobody putting the
Oh
shit on the
my
line like
god.
David Benavidez fighting
Oh my god.
competition that they know they could lose to. And name the fighter. Who? Who the fuck is people
Well,
fighting that they scared that they're gonna lose to? Please
okay.
tell
Well,
me,
look
coach.
at this. Well, look,
Because everybody
David
trying to protect
Benavidez
they
needs.
if they got one.
Listen, if you want to be this big bad fighter, you want to be the baddest guy because everybody wants to beat the guy, but they don't want to be the guy because there's a lot
Why
of
ain't
hoopla, a
nobody
lot of
fighting this
talk.
guy then?
Listen,
That they need
David
150 to
Benavidez,
200
he
million. There's a lot of excuses why they don't want to fight this bum though. You feel what I'm saying?
listen.
This guy that ain't nobody that everybody say
Ashley, can you
he's
please let him
nobody.
talk?
Oh,
Ashley,
he just
please
Let him
let the
compared to
coach
talk.
him
finish.
to Canelo. That's what y'all
Please.
excuses is.
Ashley,
Listen,
let the coach finish,
The
please.
main people that hate this
Hey,
man is
goddamn,
fucking
Ashley.
Latinos they self, man.
Ashley, you're gonna make me pull you off the live. I don't want to do that. Please, Ashley. Just show respect to the other
don't do.
panel members. Coach,
Yeah,
please.
don't do it. Listen, I know Ashley. Listen, he's got a lot in his mind. I get it, but listen, David Benavidez needs to do what David Benavidez needs to do. If I were in his shoes, I would fight anybody, anywhere, for any X amount, because eventually you're going to get to where Canelo is, and you can call your own shots for your own amount that you want. Benavidez, still in my book, needs to prove himself. He's got to fight anyone, anywhere. That's bottom line. Okay? Now, I
And
know
I
you got a
think
lot to say, and we're hearing you. You do sound a little bit off the rock a little bit, but listen, keep it more focused, but say less when you want to try and get
Well, tell
across.
me, listen, man, tell me why I'm saying.
hold on,
Tell me
Ashley.
what I
Hold on,
said.
Ashley. Hold on, Ashley. And I just want to follow up with something that Coach said that was very, very
Coach,
astute.
tell me what I said that's off
Hold
the
on,
rock.
Ashley, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to be polite. Like, I'm
Nigga,
trying to
tell
be
your mama to
professional,
shut the
and you're
fuck
gonna
up.
make
I
me
done
tell you
told
to
you.
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up,
I done
Ashley.
told your
Damn.
pussy ass stop talking.
Damn. See, I mean, like, this guy just did it to himself. He did it to. I tried. I really tried. I promise you, I tried. I promise you, I tried. Edgar, I fucking tried, Edgar.
Hey, bro. I mean, hey, I told you months and months and years ago. This guy is, I don't know. He's special in some fucking fashion where he needs to hear himself talk. He doesn't fucking think logically. He keeps
Oh
cutting
my
people off. He keeps
God.
cutting people off after you've asked them, like, "Hey, can you just hold on for a second?" Then you mute him so you can say something. Then he keeps talking. He just does it to himself. Like, I mean, like I said it before, and like the coach just said. You need to fucking beat anybody. It's like anything in life. You don't just walk in and fucking become the CEO of Coca-Cola. No, you have to fucking start somewhere and then you become the CEO of Coca-Cola. You don't just get the keys to the kingdom. But, and like Ashy and that type of casuals, I'm sorry, fucking believe they drank the Kool-Aid. They drank the Kool-Aid, bro.
I mean, Domo says Ashy Knuckles makes me hate the First Amendment. Oh my goodness. This is really sad, man.
This is bad.
That's a good
I know
one, Domo.
Ashley's probably complaining right now.
I'm trying to see if
That's a
he in
good
the
one, Domo.
comment section. I'm trying to see if he
Oh
in the
my
comment
God.
section, man. I know he in there wilding, bro.
He's
God
probably still
damn.
talking, thinking he's on live, man. Oh man, we just
Domo,
put him in
oh
a
my
quick
God.
little timeout, and it like Ashley, you kind of lost the
God.
plot here, man. Domo says, Ashley, you think his resume is good because you know he sucks. I mean, we try to be nice to him. New Country says your boy Mirage made a video hating on you guys. Crazy. If anybody
I
listens to
can't wait to see
Mirage, they're
that.
just really stupid. I mean, Mirage is the same guy that body bagged himself 1,000,000 times. I mean, I think he got cooked on Ring IQ 1,000 times, didn't he? I mean, if I'm not
He
wrong.
did. He
Yeah,
did.
so
He got smoked. He got smoked.
yeah, so he got smoked like a turkey. So it's pointless dealing with that guy, man. Hold on. The Gooch says this is for kicking Ashley off the live. Thank you. Damn. Oh my God. Hey, shout out to the Gooch. Shout out to the Gooch, man.
Shout out.
And the Mexican 6'9" says, if you need to get muted, this is not for you. Salute to you, my brother. Shout out to the Gooch. Shout out to Mexican 6'9". Last topic. The only thing I want to say is, what do you guys think about Boots Ennis in the Teofimo situation? Does he need to go ahead and accept that? Because he's talking about either moving to 54 or fighting Teofimo. Any thoughts on that, fellas? Jesse, you want to go first?
Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You need to prove yourself. You have to do all that you can to show everyone out there what you have. Show your gifts. Yeah, listen, sometimes all the money's not there. Take it to fight. Show that you're elite. Show your assets out to everyone. Eventually, you're going to get to the point to where you call your own shots.
That's a great astute point. Edgar, what do you think about the Teofimo boot situation? Any thoughts?
I mean, I would like to see it go down before he moves up. I would like to see it go down because I think that, like Coach just said, I mean, the cream is going to rise to the top. And maybe it's not the biggest payday for either one of these guys, but it's not going to be fucking peanuts. It's going to be a good payday. It's going to be a nice paycheck. And then the winner is going to fucking be able to call some of his shots, or he's going to be able to take the bigger piece of the pie on the next fight. So that to me is fucking that's fuel for the fire. Like, bro, if I beat Nuke, then I can fucking take that platform and now I can fucking call my shots and vice versa. So I hope it gets done.
Absolutely. And Mills, what do you think about this Boots Teofimo situation, my brother?
I don't like it, man. I mean, I think there's bigger fish to fry, bro. We know the fight that we want to see Boots in. That's with Brian Norman Jr. Now, if Brian Norman Jr. don't take the fight after he gets done, after him and Jen Sasaki, they finish locking horns, then just go on ahead and jump up to 154 pounds, man. I don't see the need outside of me wanting just Teo to get a brain bleed. There's no reason for you to go and fight no Teofimo Lopez, bro. Just go ahead. If you can't get that Brian Norman fight, jump on up, man, and go get the drama with the real wolves up there, man. Get Teofimo the fuck out of here. Leave him to the Gary Antoine Russells and the Richardson Hitchens, and who's the Japanese dude that's supposed to be that got ordered for Gary Antoine Russell's belt, like Andy who wrote, I can't remember his name, but go get drama with them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Teofimo, let them dudes beat you to death, half to death, or whatever. You and your daddy. Boots, don't pay no mind to no Teofimo fucking Lopez, man. That's how I feel about it. I don't like the fight.
Well, the only problem that we have with that is he really didn't want to fight Virgil, and he could have moved up to 54 already. Who would Boots be looking to fight if he goes up to 54?
Sebastian Fundora when he loses.
He could take a Charlo fight. I mean, he could take a Charlo fight.
Good.
Well, or I don't want to say Lubin. I wouldn't mind him and Lubin. Who would be a good introduction fight to him in the division, man? I'm not so sure.
You're talking about introduction fight. I
just an introduction fight.
I was talking. I mean, Fundora would be the easy fucking bait. He would be the easiest fucking tackle. You take that belt, and now you can call some shots at the table. You'd be like, I got a belt. I need to take a little bit of a piece of the pie.
In fairness, you put the smack down on Teofimo. I mean, you build your name, you build your brand. People see him get washed. You go in there and do that. Now everybody's like, man, Boots is that guy. You shatter a whole new fan base because Fundora doesn't have that. And then you also stop a lot of this needless calling out. Like, in the famous words of the poet Kendrick Lamar, you got to pop out and show them, Mills. And I think that's what Boots has to do. Pop out and show these guys he's not playing. Lay Teofimo down, and you'll never hear nobody else say, I don't want that. They'll let me stay in my lane. I don't want to get crazy with this. And then you'll see respect go from there.
Yeah, I feel that.
You do.
I feel that. I feel that.
When you fight.
Yeah,
you get the respect when you fight, and you get the names. Listen, it's all about, at the end, it's about fighting. You got to be able to fight the people at your front. When you get a big name, or Teofimo Lopez, I love Teo. I love him. He's a good fighter. Listen, when you can get a good fight, don't matter. Just lock something down. Oh, the money isn't there. Take it. Listen, that's just one more notch in your belt, your resume. You have to build it. This is what Mayweather did. The greats, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all these big fighters, they built up and fought. They didn't say no. Let's fight. Let's go.
And coach, coach, not to cut you off, coach, but like I believe I think you're older than me. I don't know what your age is, but just by seeing your face, I can say you're older than me. But like I'm younger than you, and what I'm trying to say is I come from a older piece of cloth. Like I remember where, just like you're saying, back in the day, motherfuckers fought every month just to say I beat him, I beat him, I beat him, I beat him, and now my pie keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the myth, and then the fucking the myth or not the nostalgia, but like now the energy behind that fighter who's beating everybody gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the money was not, like you said, the money was not always there. Like you guys won't fucking remember. Like true fans will not fucking give two shits about what belts you had, but they will remember every fucking good fight you had. And Mickey Ward and Gotti and Ward are fucking perfect. Gotti and Ward are a perfect example. They fucking fought peanuts, and they didn't make too much money, but everyone remembers those fights.
Yeah, wasn't that beautiful? That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
It's just, man, you can't bottle that energy. It's just
you cannot.
Every round you're just sitting there eating popcorn and drinking a beer. You just can't get your eyes off the TV.
You can't get enough of it. Right. You cannot get enough of it.
And that's what made boxing what it is back then. And it's lost a lot of steam because there's too many bickering and arguing, and everything's contractual and everything's about money. But, there was a fighter back in the day, my dad and I loved my dad so much. I respected and heard everything and I learned so much from him. But there was a fighter that he loved that I was just tracking. And he was doing everything good, and I kept on saying, Dad, hey, guess what? Your fighter won again. Yeah, I know. You've seen that. And his name was Larry Holmes. This guy was undefeated for years. And I'll tell you, I love that man. He had everything a boxer should have, at least in the heavyweight division. And, this is what made boxing today. Back in old Mexico, they used to fight over there for free to build and to get things up to speed. And then, you get to the big boys and, you have to be able to just take what they give you, establish your name. Fans know who you are. You do well, we're going to remember you. I remember when Canelo came to the States, okay? I didn't know who he was, but every fight till he got to Mayweather, I'm like, ooh, but I had a feeling, that might be too early for Canelo. I turned out to be right. But you know what? You test it. I'm okay with Canelo losing that fight because look what it did for him. There are things that we learn. There are things that make you better. This is what we have to do, and it made him better. Just because you lose a fight doesn't mean that it's the end of your career. You can bounce back, but you need to learn from it. Tactfully, offensively, and then slippery defensively, you get to the end, but you got to learn from the guys of the past and establish the new boxer of today.
I'm sorry, still. And just to say, in anything in life, you learn from failure more than you learn from actual success. Because failure will teach you every which way not to do it to be successful.
You're right.
Failure will teach you more than a success.
Do you know where you learned that a lot from, Edgar? You learn a lot of that? You learn a lot of that through sparring.
Yeah.
That's a
Believe
fact.
it or not. Because when you spar
I have to disagree. I have to disagree. I mean, Ashley Knuckles' mom, she failed and raised him, and she kept on going. So some people don't learn from failure. Some people just accept it. I'm sorry, guys. I had to get that one out. I had to get that one out.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead. This is what you pull out of your... This is what you're pulling out of some of your fans, man. But look at a lot of the boxers, they learn and they pick up a lot, believe it or not, through, a lot of the practice that they go through. You pick up little tips and bits. And even Canelo, if I'm not mistaken, he learned a few things from sparring with Triple G and sparring with other people. You pick up on, I like this, because and all it takes is just a twist of your hip or your leg, or when keeping flat foot. Like if you notice, Canelo, sometimes he's on his toes, sometimes he's flat foot. When he fights flat foot, and I suspect this September, Canelo's going to be flat footed in some rates, and in some he's going to be on his toes when you see if Crawford decides to run. But when he's flat foot, be ready, because he's getting ready to land a big punch, and it's going to hurt Crawford.
Oh man, still, I know you had I know you were going to say something, so I apologize.
No, you good, man. I just, like I tell the panel, man. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, man. I'm rooting for the champion, man. But I've never been a fan of this fight. I've never been a fan of it, and that's just where I'm at with it, man. So I'm rooting for the champion, man. I'm rooting for the champion. But fuck, this is it's a uphill, slippery, icy battle. You dig what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it, man. But
Mills, we have to remember that, in both, we're not discounting any. Definitely, I don't want you to think that I'm discounting Crawford. Listen, this is his fight to win. You have to prove, because you're the challenger, you have to show that you can beat Canelo at his game. So I'm expecting Crawford to outgun him, punches, slips, show me defensive moves. You have to be able to outthrow Canelo. You have to make the punches count. Show me that you can beat Canelo, and then I will say, "Hey, you beat Canelo."
But my biggest thing with that is, I've said it before on here, man. I don't. Fuck, man.
No, listen, I get it.
I just don't feel like Bud has a style advantage going into this fight, because this dude has been in front of every opponent. Yeah. He's been in front of the slick southpaw. He's been in front of the mid range, the boxer puncher. He's been in front of the slugger and the dude who likes to swarm you and fight in the phone booth. He's been in front of every opponent you can think of, and people are taking this fight with William Skull and running with it, and we're like, Bud he's not as rangy as William Skull, bro, and he's not acclimated to the division. Y'all are thinking that he's just gonna carry up all of his attributes 2 extra weight classes because I'm just like you. There's no evidence that he can do what he did at 154 pounds or 147 pounds up at 168 pounds. I just like people to stay and keep the shit in its proper context. Let's just just of course not you. I'm just talking about. I'm a fan of the champ. Bud is one of the greats to me. That is our champion. He is a national treasure up here, but I walk in objectivity. You dig? So I'm like, fuck, man. Just, when you switch, Bud is a killer out of the southpaw stance. I mean, so when you talk about, him, outgunning him and, with volume and everything, Canelo is a very good defensive fighter. And he's an even better counterpuncher, man. So when you open up like that, you're giving him more countering opportunities, man. I'm like, fuck, man. I don't, man. I'm rooting for the champion, man. I ain't about to go too much deep. I'm rooting for the.
They're gonna try to break it down.
I wanted to touch on something with y'all. What y'all was saying about the fights, just fighting and stop asking for everything and thinking shit is just supposed to be handed to y'all, man. Mike Tyson is the GOAT to me. That dude fought 12 times, I think, on my birth year, even the year I was born or the year after. I'm born in 1986. He fought 12 times in 1 year. Ain't nobody bigger than what Mike Tyson today. What Mike Tyson was in the 80s and in the 90s.
Oh,
even after his prison stint. So who the fuck are y'all to sit here and get in the ring and run that shit? If you didn't take no significant damage in a match, get your ass right back out there within the next couple of months and get that work in. Tyson did it. What the fuck is stopping y'all from doing it? And even before Tyson, you got the Sugar Ray Robinsons and the Willie Peps. And when you go back into the days of the 50s and the 40s and all that, you're talking about dudes with 200 plus fights.
Yep.
Canelo, the amount of fights that Canelo has in the now, bro, that's kind of like they scoff at that from back in the day because it's like, dog, we got doubled and tripled in fights. We tripled your work. You dig? I'm like, man, y'all just. After 10 and 20 fights, y'all think the world is just supposed to be thrown at y'all feet, and it's not.
And still, and I laugh when I hear people talk boxing like at the barbershop or like in like circles, like at social events, or like where they want to talk about boxing, about like the new era of like Mayweather, post Mayweather this way, he used to go this and that. Like, bro, you cannot like. It's very, 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 very difficult to name anybody to go because you cannot fucking tell me that anybody from the fucking 80s, 90s, and today that would have had it in them to fight week in, week out, month in, month out. Like whether it was a bad fight or a hard fight or a easy fight, you still had to fucking get in that ring and beat that other man a month later. So you're gonna tell me that those guys that did that back then couldn't walk through everybody today? Like, bro, it would have been a cakewalk. Be like, bro, all I gotta fight is twice a year. What the fuck?
And 15 round fight. Ooh,
15 round fights,
bro. That's
right?
a whole extra 9 minutes.
Yeah,
man, come on, man.
And I've said it forever. They should go to fucking 13 round fights because then it'll limit the fucking bullshit draws or bullshit controversies in fucking judges. They should what's one more round? What's one more round?
Hey, I can see that. I can see that. Definitely. I can agree with that.
Well,
so,
one thing that I can say is that Mike Tyson, he was a phenom at what he did. He was always in shape, like Canelo. He was always in shape, and that's what he meant by his motto, boxing is life, is that the man is ready to fight at any given time. We slowed down quite a bit, fighting once a year, twice a year, once every 2-3 years. Yeah, it's not like the day of old. Tyson, I didn't know he fought at one time or at one period 12 times a year. That's a lot. But that just speaks much volume when it comes to his conditioning and all. So, but listen, you got to stay in shape to do that.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. So, I'm just saying, man, just even with Canelo, man, that dude went through the gears. He went through the gauntlet to get to where he's at in the now. That's why he got damn near 70 fights. So he's reaping the benefits of what he did, the groundwork he laid 2008, 2009, 2010, you dig? So you can't be mad at him when I don't got no, like, if he doesn't fight David Benavidez, I personally don't give a fuck. And that's the fight that I want the most.
Well, here's the thing. There are a few texts that
that I've sent out to a few friends of mine. At first, I was, like Nuke, oh, listen, Benavidez is just like his father, he's talking a lot of trash. But, the importance of Benavidez and Canelo, that fight, it should materialize. It should. But, Canelo, listen, he is humble in many, many ways. But when you have this nail that keeps sticking out, you don't want that problem because it's just too much. There's too much baggage to it. But eventually to the point to where if I can just be a small little bird in Canelo's ear, is to listen. Once if you get past Crawford this year, perhaps maybe making this Benavidez fight materialize. The benefits would be good, and it is. I've believed that Benavidez's time is actually it's been here, and so many Canelo fans that I've seen and heard, oh, he's the best, Canelo's the best, yes, but the best fight the best, man. Yeah, Benavidez gets a little bit sideways, but I think he's got too many birdies in his ears telling him things, and a lot of times when you're open for the fight, you shouldn't have to worry about the money because if you fight Canelo, you're gonna get paid. But if you can get past Canelo, you become the man who can call the shots. But listen, it's a long way, but the Pearson time's a little bit short. We have to all recognize the true fact that, I hope that Canelo will consider fighting Benavidez. And at one time, listen, it was brought to my attention that this was going to happen when he was with Al Heyman. A lot of the contracts, I'm not sure exactly the specifics on there, but I kept hearing Benavidez left and right, and I questioned and called a few people. Listen, I'm thinking, wow, do I say anything? No, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but will Canelo, if he beats Crawford this year, will that establish him as the great? Well, that's the problem. We all want to think that Canelo. Listen, I believe in my mind that Canelo right now is the greatest Mexican boxer. He's did enough for me to get my vote. That he's the greatest Mexican boxer. Okay,
me too.
To be the greatest boxer in the world. Listen, you got to get past that hump, and I would tell Canelo in his ear, you got to go after Benavidez. This is the one, the quiet the elephant in the room, the quiet conversation.
So, coach. So the logic. Okay. So to I guess talk about on your point. Logically, yes. Canelo on accolades is the greatest Mexican boxer of all time.
Yes,
but
I believe.
In terms of like the mythology and the fan base and the aura behind them, he's falling short to Chavez and to Salvador Sanchez. But in accolades, he is the greatest one to have ever laced a pair of gloves.
I believe so.
To go back to what you were saying, if he gets past Crawford and he shows that he wins the fight, let's just say in a very convincingly fashion, whatever, he would still have 2 remaining fights on that contract, which I think in my brain, logically, the third fight would be the run back with Bivol. If Bivol beats Bitterbeef, which I believe he will, because I think he has that thorn in his, in the back of his neck that he wants to run it back with him. And let's say he gets past him as well. That would ultimately set up a mega fight with David Benavidez. And I believe that may be the last hurrah.
Yeah.
I just feel like this, man. I just feel like this because to go back to what it is that we were saying, man, earlier about even with his dad potentially bringing up William Skull, man. So we go from Caleb Plant to now Callum Smith being in the talks of getting a fight with David Benavidez. Bivol, he's gunning for Bivol, and now you got William Skull. So this would be 4. This would be 4 potential common opponents that Canelo has already gotten to before you got to him. You dig what I'm saying? He's outpaced you at 168. It took him all a calendar year to completely eradicate your entire tenure as a super middleweight. And then he's outpaced you as a light heavyweight with fighting Kovalev, knocking him out, Debo on the belt off of him, and then fighting Bivol. And then you want to go and get that drama back with Bivol. I can't bang on him too. And like I said before, I want to see the Benavidez versus Canelo fight more than any other fight. But if you jump back up there and you fight Bivol, how can I can't use that as a knock on your resume and your contributions to the sport because you don't want to go and fight David Benavidez, who's honestly done next to nothing. Even though I get what you're saying, I definitely get what you're saying, Coach. I just can't be the one to do it. You dig? And David Benavidez for the last time is the fight that I want more than any other fight. I've been wanting that fight. I didn't want Canelo to fight Bivol in the first place. I wanted him to go and fight David Benavidez, man. Just go ahead and derail this dude's hype train so we can get him the fuck up out of here. That's how I personally feel about it. Like, let's get this shit over with. But I can't be the dude to say that, yo, man, you kind of looking funny under the light because you ain't going to fight David Benavidez when you got Dimitri Bivol in the scope. Even if he don't go fight David Benavidez, I'm like, dog, the fact that you have a potential 3 to 4 opponents that you're interested in fighting after Canelo done fought him, either he done crashed or knocked him out, took a belt off of him, or just fought him in general, I'm sorry, bro, you still playing catch up. Like, think about how you in a whole nother division still playing catch up. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it, man. I have no faith in David Benavidez. I'm not a believer in him. I definitely don't think he's a trash fighter. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a quality scout for anybody. But bro, you're playing catch up still, and the entire career is being dictated off of how Canelo moves. When let you tell it, you're a dude who's done fighting, who's done worrying about this dude. You're in a higher division. You don't give a fuck about Canelo no more, but you're also still muddy in the waters to where everything that Canelo has done, all the important shit that he's done in the sport, you're muddy in the water, so you don't even have to go through them channels like saying you don't want to fight in Saudi and you don't want to fight in Alcatraz and you're loyal to Al Heyman and all this shit and you're turning down offers with the Callum Smith. It's just his entire career is charade, just smoke and mirrors, and I'm just cool on dude, man. So no, if you don't fight David Benavidez, it is what it is. That's how
I can agree with you. I can agree with you.
For me as a boxing fan, I'll tell you this. I would like to see boxing go to the stage of win or lose, don't matter. Canelo checks out and say, look, I'm going to just make the biggest fights that I can make at the end of my career. I'm going to fight Bud next. Win or lose with Bud, I'm going to fight Bivol. Better be a winner after that. I'm going to fight Benavidez after that. And then I'll ride into the sunset fighting Jake Paul. Them will be the biggest massive fight. Because how can you bitch about the Jake Paul fight after you've already fought the better be a Bivol winner, after you fought Benavidez, after you fought Bud, and then you smash Jake Paul just to get your pockets right before you walk away? I don't see anybody could be mad at those fights. And most boxing fans will thank you for getting rid of that guy. I think everybody would be happy with that run. Doesn't matter if he beats Bivol, Beterbiev. As a fan, we just like to see it. Doesn't matter if he beats Benavidez at this point, just like to see it. Same with Bud. Let's just let everybody win or lose, get their fights in and say, fuck it, and let's just do the best we can. Because me personally, I'm not on the team of saying I want to see Canelo end his career fighting Hamza Shiraz, Chris Eubank, Conor Ben. I'm not interested in that personally. I don't want to pay for those things. And so that would make me feel better knowing that, okay, this is what we're doing. Win or lose, don't fucking matter. I think the problem with boxing is we put too much stipulations on, oh, the guy got to win this one to fight this. No, those can still be great fights. Those can still be great fights. And I think that it didn't matter if Canelo wins or loses. Like, even if Beterbiev loses to Bivol and Canelo says, well, I'm going to fight Bivol next, there's no reason why David and Beterbiev can't get it on for that WBC strap. There's no reason why that can't happen. But fans will say, nope, we're going to keep David away from him because fuck that. We're not going through that smoke. And I'm like, no, win or lose, let's put them all together, roll the dice, and let's see what comes out.
Definitely agree.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. And, look for, and, I know there's still talks with Benavidez in the Canelo camp. I know there is. It's just whether or not making it materialize. Okay, they've got to be able to understand many, many, many small factors. But at the end, this is still the fight that many fans want to see. I've been wanting for Canelo to face Benavidez, but I wanted this fight to happen maybe 2-3 years ago because I still felt that, at any point, Canelo still was on his toes, was still the ultimate matcher when it comes to the combination of power, combo, strength, offense, defense, everything on the table. Now He's much older. He's got mileage on his feet, mileage on his hands. He's not the same Canelo that he was 5, 6, 7 years ago. But still, I think he's got enough assets to still beat Benavidez. I still think he can beat Benavidez because I've often made fun of Benavidez at times, calling him a Twinkie because his midsection is really soft. But, Benavidez was never really a good fighter for me because, well, look at his last few fights, his last several fights. There's a lot of bad habits that I see, a lot of poor habits.
Well, Coach, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, one guy would argue that his last 5 fights were better than anybody's out there.
They don't know boxing then. They don't know boxing. But Benavidez's technique on there, man, is just, you throw those rabbit punches, I've always been more of a proponent on being solid on your 1-2. You got to establish a good jab. It sets your offense up, it sets up your defense, believe it or not. And when you're facing the other guy, because one boxer is not going to give you the same as the other. You got to be ready. And this is something that I think Benavidez, we all want to see it, but I still, even where Canelo is at, I still think Canelo can beat the pants out of Benavidez.
But I think he'll beat the dog shit out of David.
I mean, agreed with you guys. I still think that he beats him, but I think an underlying theme here with on Canelo's camp side now is I don't believe that Canelo wants to bless him with a career high payday. Or I don't because of the way he came at him, because of all the crap his camp talked and his dad talked. Yeah. I think at some point Canelo was like, you know what, you've thrown enough dirt on my name. Why should I give you the opportunity to have the biggest paycheck you will ever see on my behalf? You know what?
I agree with that, Edgar. The only thing that I'll say is, you got to take this out of Canelo's hands. You got to put this in Turkey.
Well, that's exactly what I was leading up to. Like, the only way that I see it happening is if Canelo gets his 150 or 150 to 200 million guaranteed, and he stipulates in the contract he gets 1 or 2% of the pie. And if you do that, okay, we'll make the fight.
Mills, you know what I mean? It comes down to contracts, you know what I mean? That's part of the problem, but I get it. This is every boxer should get paid well because they're putting their life on the line, you know what I mean? But listen, what Edgar mentioned and what he spoke about, listen, it's factual, this is what today's boxing is at its forefront, But it's a shame that we should be more proponents of getting more fights out there. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to fight the top guys. Listen, work yourself up, man. I'm old school, but what do I really know?
And, you know a lot.
you know a lot. And all you guys are very knowledgeable. Let me pay these bills real quick. B. Raza says, bro, there's no convincing or knocking sense into that man. He's talking about Ashy Knuckles. And one baller says, Ashy believes that women make better leaders than men. I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch that.
Smart.
The Gooch says, this is for you to let Mirage on, then kick him off as soon as he says one word. Gooch, I respect you. So what I'm going to do, Gooch, is as soon as I get the next show going Friday, I'm going to let Mirage on and get his ass out of here. Violet says, Morrell had 11 fights. Vostok came out of retirement. Boo Boo barely moved up to 68, and he hasn't fought anyone notable. Plant was knocked out by Canelo. That 5-fight run was dookie butter. I mean, that's just what it is, and that's... my brother Freeze Tim says, Boots sleeps Tio. Salute to you, my brother. Mike Trade says, Boots Bakram at 154. Who would y'all favor?
Bakram.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I'll take Bakram. I'll take Bakram.
I'm 50-50 on that.
I'm gonna be 50-50 myself. I'm a reserve judgment, but I think Boots got the skills. I know people say he always get hit. I can't name a fighter that don't take shots. So
bingo.
So my only thing, and then we already know Ashy Knuckles always takes it in the face. So let me get to the next one. Domo says Domo says at Coach Jesse, would David go to Saudi given the fact that the next two of Canelo fights after Bud fight will be in Saudi? So will David be willing to go to Saudi Arabia to fight Canelo if that's on the table? When he said he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, Domo, like I'll go back and say what I said before. Listen, you take the fights. If Canelo's out there and he's calling your name, you take it. You take the fight. I don't care who it is. You take what you take the money, because listen, every single fight you keep, if you win and you keep accepting it, people are going to start noticing who you are. That's how, remember, Crawford, many of us didn't know who he was, so all of a sudden, wait, who's this guy? And now we're backtracking. Wow, he's good. We didn't know about him. His exposure was kind of not there. All of a sudden, Crawford came out of nowhere. And listen, he's as good as he says he is, and it is what it is. You have to take with a certain pinch of reality. Take what you can take, and yeah, the money may not always be there, but eventually the money will, because opportunity. As long as you win these fights, the big money is around the corner. It'll show up, and the big fights eventually will materialize. That's a given.
Yep. Jay says this is not about ducking with Canelo. I believe it's about I'm not giving this motherfucker a payday, and that's really what it's about.
Yeah,
it's for Canelo's mindset.
Yeah, you can't listen. Canelo's the cash king of boxing right now. He's the face of boxing. In my eyes, I think he's pound for pound. Listen, he pretty much calls his own shots because he can do that. He's already established himself on doing what he has to do. But, payday, yeah, listen, I don't know. Canelo is just someone who can demand this, and I respect him for that.
Yep. Domo says, notice how Canelo not once said he's never fighting this guy. He's always said, pay me, simply because he's not been forced. Salute to Domo. Supreme, my brother Supreme 174. He says Canelo will smoke some bud and destroy David, and those are facts. Salute to my brother Supreme in the building, man. It's been a pleasure having you guys on. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we get out of here today? We'll be back live Friday. Any last final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, Ashy, bro. Next time you come on, man, just practice some fucking decorum, my nigga. Like, God damn. Because I enjoy having him on here, bro. That dude be having me dying. I want Mirage to come on here too. And I was hoping Clavo I really wanted Clavo to get on that man's nose, man. But shout out to Clavo, you dig? Shout out to Clavo. But nah, man, just stop. Man, stop living in that man's shadow, man. Forge your own legacy. You in a whole new division. What do you want out of the sport of boxing? Everything can't be, you know what I'm saying, relegated to how Canelo moves, man. Forge your own lane and go with it, you dig? And that's all I got to say about it.
Hey, Jesse, Nuke, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me out here, man. I appreciate you picking me up. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Jesse, it's been a pleasure listening to you, man.
Thank you.
You're very knowledgeable, smart, respectful, all of those things, man. And we definitely want you on any and every episode you want to get on. We'll be back live Friday. You've educated so many people. I've seen so many people in the comments very happy to hear you talking, loving what you're saying. And it's just been an absolute joy to have you on here. Edgar, do you got anything else you'd like to add, my brother?
Yeah, I mean, just like Nuke said, and like we were, I guess, when there was just the four of us, how we were just touching base, where like you have to forge your own path. You have to create your own legacy, create your own brand, so that you can be the head of the table. You don't just get to be the head of the table. And like I said, good show I believe it was a good show. It was good to have a new face. And Ashy, you just have to be logical and respectful, man. That's all it is.
At least Mirage don't be interrupting people and all that, man. God damn, Ashy. Fuck wrong with that nigga, man.
And hopefully Clavo jumps on next time. Clavo, we miss having you on today. Supreme, we miss having you on today. So salute to everybody. Thank you guys for a great show. And we'll be back at it Friday. And don't forget this Saturday, Caleb Plant fights Resendez, and then you have Jamal Charlo's return, and he fights substance abuse. So see you guys Friday. We'll be back at it. Salute, fellas.
Later.